Sujuru awoke beneath a bright sky, disoriented yet calm. Voices echoed faintly in his memory. As he sat up, he realized this was no dream. A new world awaited him. Sujuru awoke in an unfamiliar field, surrounded by silence and wind. As he stood confused, a voice spoke, gentle but firm, revealing it came not from a person, but his sword. Realizing the voice came from his cherished katana, Sujuru trembled with awe. The blade, now sentient, confirmed it. Overwhelmed by joy, he clutched it tightly, grinning with uncontainable delight. Sujuru recalled his death, laughing calmly. Granted one chance, he chose only his swords. Reborn in another world, he named his partner Love Katana, unaware it disliked the sentiment already. The katana introduced herself as Hotaru, Hotaru for short. Sujuru, stunned but smiling, realized she already had an identity. His naming attempt felt silly now, yet he welcomed her honesty warmly. Sujuru was stunned. Hotaru, the legendary blade of history, was now speaking to him. Overjoyed, he celebrated wildly. But the katana teased him for never knowing her name after years together. Sujuru reintroduced himself and formally greeted Hotaru. Hoping for mutual support, he then turned to the quiet second sword. Assuming its youth caused silence, he prepared to offer it a name. Sujuru named the quiet blade Sakura, holding it gently. A bond formed between the three. Though Hotaru questioned his obsession, Sujuru declared they'd face this world together. As companions and equals, confident and cheerful, Sujuru prepared to explore. A forest loomed nearby, but Hotaru advised caution. Though uncertain why, her tone turned serious, prompting Sujuru to hesitate before heading into danger. Recognizing his ignorance of the new world, Sujuru avoided risky terrain. Hotaru noted his caution. Spotting a distant hill, they agreed it offered safe elevation to scout their unfamiliar surroundings. With a steady stride, Sujuru set off toward the hill. The fresh air uplifted him, his steps light. In this strange new world, even walking forward filled him with purpose. Reaching the hilltop swiftly, Sujuru felt invigorated by the new world. A strange beam of light in the distance caught his attention, its mystery now calling him toward something unknown ahead. Facing signposts in an unknown script he mysteriously understood, Sujuru chose the town route. But after an hour, hunger crept in. Unlike his swords, he needed food, and the forest loomed again. Though Sujuru wisely avoided the forest, danger still found him. A distant scream pierced the calm. Hotaru alerted him instantly, snapping his focus. Someone nearby was in trouble and needed help. Rushing toward the sound, Sujuru struggled to run. The planet's gravity felt light, his movements awkward. Hotaru urged practice, but urgency outweighed comfort. Someone needed help. And time was slipping fast. Hotaru guided Sujuru through proper running form, posture low, force through his feet. Following her advice, he quickly adapted to the planet's light gravity, surging forward with newfound speed and control. Mastering the run swiftly, Sujuru felt proud but cautious. Hotaru praised his strength, yet he knew speed wasn't enough. Monsters could lurk nearby. If battle came, he'd need more than stamina. Sujuru followed the forest road swiftly, spotting a caravan ahead. Hotaru warned him to stay low. Bandits lurked nearby, plotting an ambush. Sujuru crouched, realizing he was stepping into real danger. Sujuru observed from afar as a woman was surrounded by armed men. Their leader spoke with forceful intent, while one subordinate crossed a line, provoking tension. Trouble was escalating fast. Peeking through the caravan's fabric, Sujuru spotted disturbing movement inside. Hotaru identified the woman as an acolyte. What he saw next, violence and madness, confirmed the situation was darker than expected. Sujuru's hand tightened around his katana. The man inside was no real threat, yet stealth was nearly impossible. Hotaru asked quietly, was he ready to strike, to kill, for the first time? Sujuru prepared silently, internalizing Hotaru's precise instructions. From stance to blade angle, every move mattered. This time, he wouldn't freeze. With steel drawn and breath steady, he embraced the coming moment. In one clean motion, Sujuru struck the bandit down. His expression remained calm, unshaken. Hotaru noted his precision and silence. This wasn't beginner's luck, it was the mark of lived experience. Sujuru emerged silently from behind the caravan. The woman's calm words masked the tension. As the bandits turned, he struck without hesitation, his swift assault catching them before they could react. With a swift slash, Sujuru dropped his foes effortlessly. Screams rang out. He pivoted mid-air, eyes locking onto a new threat, an arrow flying fast. An ambush? He realized, instincts igniting. I'll come back for you later, Sujuru vowed, blade flashing. The woman gasped, heart pounding. As he darted into the fray, steel clashed with steel, every move swift, precise, and filled with resolve. Sujuru faced a group of bandits alone. With fluid precision, he dropped one attacker after another. Just as he advanced, a warning called out. An enemy approached from behind swiftly. Sujuru spun in time, driving his blade into the attacker's chest before the ambush could land. As another charged, he met him with a fierce gaze and a crushing kick. Sujuru launched forward, cutting through one foe while kicking another aside. His swift moves overwhelmed the rest. As calm returned, a woman gripped his arm, her silent gesture filled with concern. With the threat neutralized, Sujuru stood firm, his sword steady. The woman behind him watched with awe and relief. Her safety was secured, and his presence left no doubt of control. 2 bandits remained, wounded yet defiant. Sujuru calmly stepped forward, sword ready, his eyes unwavering. Beside him, the woman stood close, silent but brave. The battle wasn't over. He would end it. Sujuru, at 16, killed 2 intruders without hesitation. Though praised by some, the trauma twisted his values. As a child, he questioned mercy, growing up distant, viewing criminals as less than human. Sujuru confronted the bandits calmly, blade drawn. Fear overtook them. Escape became their only option. Their leader, realizing defeat was certain, paused to think, knowing panic would only hasten their end. As the leader fled, he ordered his men to stall. One stayed, trembling. Sujuru stood unfazed, asking coldly if mercy was deserved. To him, survival depended solely on worth. With one clean strike, Sujuru cut down the fleeing bandit. The woman watched silently, unmoved. In this world he no longer needed to hide. His ruthless nature finally had purpose. The last bandit begged for mercy, trembling. Sujuru remained still, unmoved. The maid reminded him. This man once ignored the cries of innocence. Now justice returned in the same cold silence. With the battle over, Sujuru received praise from Hotaru the sword. Though unused to warmth, he accepted her words. For the first time, he felt he might belong beyond just violence. As calm returned, Sujuru casually retrieved his sword. Speaking to it with care, the maid questioned the habit, but to him, the blade wasn't just a tool, it was trusted company. Sujuru gathered the fallen weapons, unaware of their deeper value. The maid explained, each blade held identity and power, bound by registration. Without it, they were worthless. But to authorities, rewarding. The maid introduced herself as Sistina, grateful for rescue. Sujuru listened, piecing together this world's rules. They moved quickly, bloodshed drew danger, and magical beasts were said to roam nearby, drawn by scent. Sistina mourned briefly for those lost, regret in her voice. Sujuru blamed his delay, but she reassured him. Because of him, she survived, and now they could honor the fallen properly. As the cart rolled toward Makerena town, Sujuru pondered the customs of this world. Beside him, Sistina held the reins, graceful and calm. He couldn't help but quietly admire her presence. As the sun dipped low, they shared a quiet ride. Sujuru averted his eyes, flustered by Sistina's chest. When evening came, they stopped to camp, peaceful, with danger now behind them. As night fell, Sistina served a warm meal. Sujuru tasted it, simple, yet familiar. The flavor stirred memories of home, reminding him of peaceful days long gone. For a moment he smiled. Memories resurfaced, Sujuru as a child training alone, then fighting to survive. The sword beside him had always been there. Now, in this new world, it too had a name. Hotaru Maru. Overwhelmed, Sujuru wept, not from sadness, but from warmth. The food stirred something long buried. It wasn't just taste, it was kindness. For once, he felt human. All he could say was, thank you. Under the moonlit sky, Sujuru admitted his ignorance of this world. With a humble smile, he asked Sistina to teach him. A new journey began, one guided not by power but trust. Sistina calmly initiated a data display, revealing an identity interface. Sujuru watched, confused yet intrigued, as unfamiliar symbols appeared mid-air. Her gesture seemed routine, but for him, it shattered expectations instantly. Sujuru examined the glowing status window. Thanks to his granted skills, he understood it, every detail. Sistina's talents spanned household duties to unexpected intimacy, leaving him unsure how to even react. Startled by his casual reading, Sistina panicked, flustered by the privacy breach. Sujuru apologized awkwardly. His divine literacy bypassed barriers, but her embarrassment revealed just how personal that information truly was. To understand more about Sujuru, Sistina requested his status. He agreed, though unsure how. Following her instructions, he focused inward. With her hand guiding him, he quietly chanted the activation word. Sujuru's status window appeared, confirming his role as a magic swords master. Amazed, he allowed Sistina to inspect it. As she approached, the interface shifted unexpectedly, reacting to her presence. Sistina politely thanked him and examined the window, noting its reaction to touch. Curious, she asked about his name and vocation. As he explained, she prepared to clarify her own role. Sujuru pondered Sistina's mysterious abilities, especially the more private ones. Though she appeared composed and refined, the vague job title and vague training left him unsure of her true responsibilities. Sistina explained her background, trained at a temple to serve as a combat support maid. She mastered essential skills in defense, healing, and diplomacy, earning the respected title of Master Acolyte. Sistina revealed her rarest skill, Contract, a powerful ability granted only to elite acolytes. Though she wished to keep it secret, Sujuru had already seen its presence in her profile. Sistina explained that under a contract, an acolyte must obey all commands or suffer magical restraint. In exchange, their combat strength soars, but only while that binding agreement remains active. Sistina revealed her painful past, used as a bargaining tool by donors, left uncontracted and powerless. Without a bond, she couldn't act, even in danger, forced to endure helplessly. Sujuru reflected on her helplessness during the attack. Sistina remained untouched but unable to act. She acknowledged his thoughts, explaining that without a contract, even witnessing death, an acolyte must remain still. Sistina spoke with urgency. Using her powers outside a contract would strip them away permanently. She feared losing the one thing that gave her purpose, the ability to protect others at all. Sujuru admitted his unfamiliarity with his own class. Sistina noted his agility, yet lack of battle skills. As she confirmed he'd seen her rare talents, he awkwardly stumbled over their implications. Sistina explained her wisdom script, granting near-complete knowledge with focused thought. She noted Sujuru's title was rare, combining swordsmanship and crafting. Intrigued, he considered testing his skill, distracted briefly by her scent. As Sujuru activated Arms Expert, detailed knowledge streamed into his mind effortlessly. Surprised by its similarity to Sistina's skill, he tested it immediately, triggering the name Hotaru Maru, a weapon seemingly tied to him. Sujuru was stunned. Hotaru Maru, an S-rank sword, held elite combat attributes beyond belief. Even Sistina's skill couldn't interpret it. Compared to it, Sakura seemed modest, but still capable in its own right. Sujuru focused, activating the animate ability tied to Hotaru. As the sword resonated, a voice emerged, calm and clear, requesting to be drawn and placed nearby, signaling her awareness had awakened. Hotaru emerged in human form, elegant, curious, and powerful. Experiencing a physical body for the first time, she studied its sensation with fascination, recognizing the transformation as part of her awakening. Sujuru marveled at Hotaru's transformation, while Sistina quickly suggested clothing. Calmly, Hotaru requested her sheath instead. Confused but curious, Sujuru retrieved it, unaware of what purpose it might now serve. With a graceful motion, Hotaru transformed the sheath into elegant clothing. Now fully dressed, she approached Sujuru with calm intensity, calling his name, ready to declare her purpose and next action. Hotaru embraced Sujuru without hesitation, marveling at the warmth and texture of human contact. Her new form brought her joy, and the experience deepened her bond with her chosen wielder. Sujuru's words hung in the air, warm and sincere. Hotaru's grip tightened, her eyes softening. "What are you saying, Sujuru?" she whispered, her heart fluttering with emotions unfamiliar yet welcome. Hotaru expresses a desire for deeper connection, surprising Sujuru. Her intensity creates romantic tension, while Sistina reacts in shock, misinterpreting the moment, adding emotional complexity and uncertainty to their bond. Sujuru, newly arrived in this strange world, is told by Hotaru that bonding in its purest form requires deep connection. Her suggestion shocks him, stirring confusion and rising pressure within. As Hotaru teasingly circles him, Sujuru struggles to remain composed. Sistina watches nervously. Though Hotaru laughs, she senses his restraint and calls for rest, choosing to guard while they sleep. Later that night, Hotaru contemplates her emotions. She requests to speak with Sujuru the next day, needing clarity. Though vague, her gaze is firm, She must decide what she truly desires. Sujuru stared into the fire, unsure of what tomorrow held. He feared parting ways with Sistina, whose warmth had become his comfort. As sleep eluded him, quiet anxiety stirred. Hotaru noticed his unrest and approached gently. Her presence calmed him, and she offered silence over answers. Sujuru admitted his worries, but she urged him to rest, her gaze steady. She embraced him, her voice soft, recognizing his burden. In that moment, Sujuru found fragile peace in her closeness. The night stretched on quietly, both aware of the uncertainty ahead. Sujuru reflected on the lives he had taken since arriving in this world. The memories weighed on him. Hotaru calmly reminded him, his journey began with blood, not by his choice. She revealed the truth behind one of his actions. The masked intruder he'd killed was his estranged father. Sujuru remained silent, knowing that even truth couldn't erase what he'd done. Despite her shock, Hotaru listened. Sujuru spoke firmly. His actions were survival, not revenge. Though his past couldn't be changed, his resolve hardened. Standing by the choices that let him keep living, Hotaru offered to rest beside Sujuru, her calm tone easing his hesitation. The night was quiet, no threats nearby. Though surprised, he agreed, drawn by the comfort she quietly offered. As they lay close, she reminded him of their long bond. Even when she was only a sword, he had held her nightly. Now human, her presence carried deeper warmth. Sujuru listened, unsure how to respond. Her touch was gentle, her words sincere. Memories resurfaced. Her body, once steel, now lived, soft and warm. He realized that connection had always been real. Drawn by lingering emotions, Hotaru leaned into Sujuru. Her touch was confident, yet tender, stirring new feelings in him. Surprised but unresisting, he could feel the weight of their bond shift. She explored the closeness between them, her curiosity blending with affection. Sujuru was overwhelmed, not just by sensation, but by the trust exchanged. Neither rushed, as if time had paused. Breath quickened, but she hushed him gently. Her warmth embraced him fully. Sujuru's words faltered, but Hotaru already understood. In silence, they shared more than comfort, a connection long forged. Hotaru, now fully naked, invited Sujuru with quiet certainty. Her words weren't just comfort, they were a vow to accept every part of him, both past and present, without hesitation. Sujuru embraced her tightly. The distance between them vanished in that moment. Words became unnecessary. In the hush of night, the bond they'd nurtured took full, undeniable shape. Their closeness deepened beyond flesh, an expression of trust and shared longing. For them, it wasn't just passion. It was healing, a mutual acceptance sealed not with words, but warmth. In the quiet aftermath, Hotaru spoke gently. She praised Sujuru's resolve. His greatest strength wasn't his sword, but his ability to remain firm in the face of darkness without losing himself. Wrapped in her arms, Sujuru rested, unsure how to respond. Hotaru admired his nature, one forged by loss, shaped by solitude. She saw in him not just strength, but rare clarity. Sistina listened quietly from nearby, realizing what Sujuru truly needed. Not power or peace, but acceptance. A world that wouldn't reject him. A person who wouldn't fear his truth. Hotaru understood. Sistina, having watched quietly, made her decision. She couldn't hold back her feelings anymore. Her heart, once hesitant, now steady, echoed Hotaru's resolve. Ready to stand beside Sujuru. No longer afraid. At dawn, she offered more than water. She offered commitment. Her words were simple, but her eyes held clarity. Sujuru turned, surprised. Sistina asked not for love, but for purpose. Together, at a sacred hall, a family begged Sistina to save their son, offering everything they owned. Touched by their sincerity, she agreed to form a contract, knowing its heavy meaning. Sujuru, still reeling from the night before, was surprised by Sistina's decision. As Hotaru calmly embraced him, Sistina stood firm, her choice made not from pressure, but from quiet resolve and affection. Sistina reflected on how fate shifted her path. Had events gone differently, she might have remained in the temple, or worse, been forced into a contract with someone dangerous and unworthy. Instead, Sujuru had saved her. His presence offered purpose and safety. Sistina, moved by what could have been lost, offered her knowledge and loyalty. Emotions stirred, but she remained composed and firm. Sujuru formally accepted her offer, grateful for her resolve. With quiet determination, Sistina began the contract ritual. Surrounded by magic and purpose, both now stood bound, not by force but choice. Sistina presented 3 contract types, each with unique strength and permanence. She explained their function carefully, detailing the risks and limitations. Sujuru listened intently, aware this choice would define their bond. Among the options, Sujuru chose the strongest: subservience. The contract ensured absolute obedience, rarely used for mutual respect. His decision surprised Sistina, but Hotaru quickly saw deeper meaning in his conviction. Though the terms resembled enslavement, his intent was sincere. Sistina, flustered yet accepting, began the ritual. As energy swirled around them, Sujuru smiled, unfazed, choosing loyalty over hierarchy without hesitation. Sujuru took the contract in hand and invoked a special command, one that allowed him to rewrite its terms. With confidence, he shattered its original restraints and began reshaping their bond. He removed the clause of absolute obedience and rewrote it with a new rule, granting Sistina the right to decline. The old bindings dissolved, replaced by mutual respect and choice. Sistina watched in awe. Sujuru's revision gave her agency, recognizing her will. For the first time, she was free to choose, with strength not just granted, but entrusted. Her heart stirred. Sistina was stunned by Sujuru's rewrite. Such an act defied expectation, reserved only for the most trusted. Sujuru, calm and certain, declared his resolve. He simply wanted to protect her freedom. Sistina reflected on her duty as an acolyte, to serve only those worthy. Realizing Sujuru's action wasn't defiance but trust, she softened. His gesture wasn't command, it was gratitude. He explained his power clearly. With perfect understanding of language, he could alter written laws. Sistina listened, realizing that through knowledge and sincerity, Sujuru had rewritten not just words, but fate itself. Sistina laughed through tears, overwhelmed. Her years of training, all skills, struggles, and sacrifice, suddenly made sense. Everything she endured had led to this moment, preparing her to stand beside Sujuru. Since childhood, she trained tirelessly. Magic, discipline, duty. It was never random. She had waited to offer everything to someone she could believe in. That day, that person had arrived. With steady voice and full heart, Sistina declared her vow. The contract was sealed, not by force but devotion. She would serve not out of duty, but because she chose him. Sujuru stood among two women still adjusting to his fortune. Despite their affection, his face remained unreadable. Meeting Sistina and Hotaru felt surreal. He quietly feared joy could summon misfortune. Hotaru reassured him, praising his blessings. Sistina gently took his hand, grounding him. Their sincerity softened Sujuru's doubt. He accepted their presence, unsure of what fate this new bond held. Sistina swiftly obeyed Sujuru's light command, and he embraced his role with growing confidence. With their loyalty affirmed, Sujuru declared himself master, uncertain but no longer retreating from the life unfolding. Sistina proposed a balance between formality and affection. Sujuru hesitated but accepted. As she reaffirmed his title in private, their bond settled, structured by roles but driven by mutual respect. Traveling together, Sistina questioned his direction. Sujuru confessed his life lacked grand ambition. He saw himself not as a hero, but a man simply fulfilling a quiet, divine role. His only wish was peace, a modest living with trusted companions. Sistina found contentment in his answer. Their contract remained intact, not from obligation, but from understanding their shared journey. Sistina's words offered quiet encouragement, planting confidence in Sujuru's uncertain heart. Her smile hinted at belief beyond duty. As a distant town emerged, so too did the promise of beginnings. Sujuru and the women arrive at a bustling city. Sistina explains that acolytes and their masters are given entry without payment. Grateful, she reflects on how important entering the city was. Sujuru listens quietly while Sistina hints there's a cost tied to her privileges. Though reluctant, she accepts the obligation. The group remains unaware of the expectations tied to their status. Hotaru comments on their lack of funds. She regrets not hunting more monsters. Still, the pile of materials seems sufficient for now. Beneath calm expressions, tension quietly simmers between responsibilities. Sistina proposes using their earnings from the monster hides and defeated bandits to support the group. However, she privately wishes to send part of it to her late master's family. Sujuru notices her hesitation and kindly agrees. The group decides to keep only what they need. Sistina quietly appreciates their understanding, reaffirming her trust in the companions she now travels with. The loot taken from the bandits is officially transferred. Hotaru arranges to sell the carriage. As business concludes, Sistina feels relief, quietly proud to be under Sujuru's leadership and care. The group visits a merchant to sell the horse and carriage. Hotaru suspects the man undervalues it. Sistina calmly steps forward, ready to negotiate with a confidence that surprises them all. As numbers are exchanged, Sistina presses for more. Reading the buyer's hesitation, with a quiet skill, she pushes him past his limit. The final offer triples the original price. Sistina reveals her negotiation ability, explaining she waited for the right moment. The group admires her talent. With the deal closed and funds secured, they finally feel some relief. At the inn, the receptionist offers separate rooms. But Sistina chooses only one. The group quietly accepts. They take a moment to rest, letting the comfort of a meal settle in. Laughter eases their tension as they enjoy local food and drinks. Hotaru reacts curiously to alcohol, while the others tease her playfully. For once, the atmosphere feels peaceful and familiar. As the group relaxes, Sistina brings up their assigned duty, exploring a tower. She explains it houses dangerous creatures. Their next challenge looms, but for now, they quietly prepare. Sistina explains the danger of the towers, structures overflowing with monsters. If left unchecked, they threaten the world. Cities suppress them to survive. Their next journey will take them to one. As the group reflects, Hotaru, slightly tipsy, insists on training through combat. Her playful side emerges. Sistina praises her reliability, even as Sujuru begins thinking about resting more seriously. Later, Sujuru explores the inn's modest bath. Sistina, curious about its purpose, watches. Hotaru joins without hesitation. A sense of awkwardness and quiet tension builds between the three companions. Sujuru briefly imagines a future where his companions are even closer. Alone in the bath, he speaks to Sakura, wishing she could one day take human form and join them. Hotaru finishes her bath and sits with Sujuru. The peaceful moment sparks thoughts of building a real hot spring someday. She's calm, confident, and quietly suggests a new kind of training. Hotaru leads Sujuru into a practice session, turning the bath area into a challenge space. She tests his reflexes, offering a focused yet playful way to sharpen his awareness and skill. Hotaru challenges Sujuru with a fast-paced reflex exercise. Though unconventional, he takes it seriously, treating it like real combat. He channels his focus, determined to match her sharp movements. They exchange agile footwork, dodging and reacting. Hotaru keeps a calm expression, guiding him with teasing feints. Sujuru grows more aware of her rhythm, gradually adapting to her unpredictable style. With each attempt, Sujuru gains confidence. Hotaru acknowledges his progress. Beneath the playful surface, their bond deepens, built not on fantasy, but through trust, skill, and a mutual will to improve. Their unusual training draws attention. A worker bursts in, scolding them for inappropriate behavior. Hotaru diffuses the tension with charm. The observers cheer, amused and impressed by her bold composure. The session ends. Sujuru thanks Hotaru for her help. She reflects on his eagerness, teasing him lightly. Her advice, however, carries real weight, blending physical instincts with everyday self-control. As Sistina enters, she questions the strange atmosphere. Sujuru and Hotaru react awkwardly, their handshake lingering. Whatever just happened, their bond has deepened through trust, challenge, and shared unspoken understanding. Sistina arrives, drawing attention without meaning to. After a long day, the group heads back to the inn. Night falls, and with it comes a brief moment of quiet rest. Sujuru relaxes on the bed as Sistina enters. She mentions Hotaru staying behind. Calmly, she asks Sujuru to remove his clothes, causing him to freeze, unsure of her intention. Flustered, Sujuru panics, but Sistina insists she's simply fulfilling her acolyte duty. Her words are composed, but her tone playful. The situation remains awkward, bridging tension with underlying trust. As Sistina helps Sujuru, a stumble sends them both tumbling. Their closeness leads to an accidental kiss. Flushed and breathless, she pulls away, heart racing, unsure what it all means. Sistina, unsure but determined, approaches Sujuru as he sits quietly. Her question breaks the silence, stirring tension. He hesitates, not from rejection but from uncertainty. She draws closer, seeking clarity. With quiet resolve, she closes the gap, their breaths warm. An unspoken bond deepens through a kiss. Sujuru begins to respond, gradually loosening his nerves as closeness takes hold gently. Their moment lingers before she reassures him. This is an obligation. He listens, then embraces her with honest feeling. His heart settles. This connection, though born of contract, now carries meaning for both. Sujuru's hesitation fades as closeness builds. Sistina responds shyly but openly. He begins guiding her gently, careful and aware. Their comfort deepens, and a mutual trust starts to replace their nerves. Memories of past experiences flash through his mind. Lessons learned with Hotaru now give him quiet confidence. He's more assured now, showing care in how he supports Sistina's growing comfort and trust. Their rhythm slows. Sistina clings to him with flushed cheeks, no longer uncertain. In quiet tones, they promise patience. Under warm light, closeness replaces formality, and both feel something more genuine. Sujuru lay beside Sistina, relaxed and satisfied. He couldn't help but smile, caught in the calm that followed. Sistina stirred slightly, and he whispered, apologizing if he had woken her. Memories about Hotaru appeared, composed and teasing. Despite her origin as a sword, she embraced her form easily. Sujuru, surprised but open, acknowledged the growing bond now shared among them. Sistina hesitated but reassured him with quiet trust. They spoke briefly of consequences and understanding. With a light-hearted thought, Sujuru declared confidence. Their next step awaited, meeting Hotaru again, now together. Hotaru welcomed them back with a teasing smile, noting their satisfaction. She offered one last suggestion, a relaxing bath. Her presence hinted at approval while remaining elegantly detached from further involvement. Sistina chose to return early, and Hotaru quietly stepped away, saying she'd revert to blade form. Sujuru smiled at the calm moonlit night, unaware that another tender moment was approaching. In the bath, Sistina appeared bashfully, her presence more vulnerable than before. She asked to wash his back, trying to mask her nervousness with service, but clearly longing for closeness again. Sujuru sat quietly, stealing glances as Sistina joined him. Though they had shared so much, her shyness lingered. That contrast, intimacy and innocence, stirred something deeper within him, silently drawing him closer. As Sistina offered to help, her movements remained gentle. He could feel her sincerity even in this vulnerable setting. The tension between them built quietly, fueled more by emotion than desire. Sujuru reached out, reversing roles without hesitation. Sistina flinched in surprise, but didn't resist. His touch, while bold, was careful. She blushed, but accepted it, trusting him, even in her barest moment. Steam lingered in the air as their bathing continued. Sistina, still shy, responded to his care with growing trust. Their shared comfort deepened quietly, expressed in gestures rather than conversation. Night covered the house, enclosing it in peace. Sistina reflected on the experience, flushed and thoughtful. Her words, though softly spoken, showed how much their connection meant to her now. As they lay together again, warmth lingered between them. Sistina leaned in, still full of energy. Sujuru, exhausted but amused, couldn't help but smile. This bond had grown stronger than he'd expected. Sujuru lay beside Sistina, both resting quietly after their shared moment. Her calm breath hinted at exhaustion. He smiled faintly, surprised by how natural their closeness had become over time. As she slept, Sujuru considered the strange techniques he'd learned, ones beyond combat. He mused about using magic energy differently, wondering how much effect their connection had on his strength. Suddenly, a new sensation rushed over him. Confused, he looked under the blanket, alarm rising. His body reacted without warning, an unfamiliar heat stirring again despite his fatigue and earlier efforts. Sujuru remained restless while Sistina slept. Conflicted by the unexpected surge of energy, he questioned his next move. Her peaceful face only deepened his guilt and hesitation about acting alone. Overcome by sensation, he found himself lost in thought. Just as impulse overcame restraint, Hotaru entered suddenly, catching him off guard. Her voice cut sharply through the tension in the room. Hotaru, ever composed, scolded him bluntly but not without sympathy. She offered to resolve the situation herself, at least temporarily, suggesting Sistina should rest while she handled his imbalance for now. Through the night, Hotaru calmly supported him, allowing release of the excess energy. By morning, Sujuru noticed a boost in his stats, particularly vitality, realizing firsthand how potent her magic form truly was. The morning after, Sistina noticed something unusual. Hotaru's status had increased. Sujuru explained he felt physically lighter. The group quickly turned their attention to this unexpected change, sensing something important had shifted. Sistina was stunned. Hotaru had reached rank Ascent. Her status screen revealed new abilities and high vigor absorption. Sujuru confirmed her presence affected him. They began to suspect deeper magical side effects. Sistina blushed at the realization. Hotaru, calm and blunt, hinted at the night's intensity. Sujuru sat awkwardly as implications settled in. Whatever happened, their bond clearly came with powerful consequences. Hotaru explained the nature of her ability, Vigor meant energy from Sujuru himself. The connection was physical, and it directly enhanced her. Sistina realized this too, flustering Sujuru with her quiet longing. Just then, Sakura's sheath trembled slightly. Hotaru sensed emotion from it. Sujuru held the silent blade, puzzled by the sudden feeling of sorrow rising from the weapon he once bonded with. He recalled Sakura had high absorption potential too, but suffered damage long ago. Gently, he promised her growth and patience, hoping one day she'd awaken and speak just like Hotaru did. Sistina explained magic as energy drawn from within, shaped into reality. Hotaru expanded on the idea, noting that few can naturally visualize magic's form, hence the need for structured learning methods. Sujuru struggled to follow, while Hotaru demonstrated with ease. A light glowed brighter in response. Her understanding was instinctive. Sujuru, inspired, decided to try himself, determined not to fall behind. Sistina warned his magic lacked refinement. Sujuru's exaggerated efforts startled her. Hotaru chuckled warmly, reminding him he already had rare strength. It simply took a different form than traditional magic techniques. Hotaru informed Sujuru of his new knightly responsibility, energy transfer through their bond. Though intense, it empowered them. With renewed spirit, Sujuru declared their next goal, to conquer the mysterious tower. Armed and united, the team prepared. Hotaru and Sistina stood by Sujuru's side. That night, they rested with determination. Morning brought training and thoughts of naming the silent sword, Sakura. They arrived at the transfer point. Sistina introduced herself as their representative. Their purpose was clear, to reach the tower. Unseen eyes watched from inside as their request was heard. The group entered the transfer point, where travelers gathered to access distant cities. Sujuru, Sistina, and Hotaru prepared themselves, observing the formal yet curious atmosphere of the magical facility. A staff member explained the cost and rules of transfer. Sujuru took the token and learned it could be reused by trading magical stones. The system was clear but expensive. Just then, a party of adventurers returned through the gate. Their battered appearance and silence hinted at the danger ahead. Sujuru watched closely, understanding the risks awaiting them in Reitok. Sujuru noticed the adventurers returning from the tower were more than survivors. They had unique skills. Using appraisal, he identified their roles, ages, and personalities. Each member revealed something worth noting. One of them, Garula, tried to charm Sistina and Hotaru. His overconfidence irritated them. Without hesitation, both women declined, unimpressed. Sujuru wisely kept his distance, recognizing the awkward group dynamic. As they stepped onto the transfer platform, Sistina muttered concerns. Hotaru agreed. The less they saw of Garula, the better. With focus restored, their party prepared to head toward the tower. The group stood inside the transfer chamber. Sujuru explained the rules. Stay within the point until doors shift. They nodded in agreement. A glow surrounded them. Their journey was truly beginning. They emerged into a breathtaking lakeside city. The vast water sparkled beneath the sun. Hotaru and Sistina took in the view. Sujuru grinned, filled with purpose. Their real adventure had begun. With the city behind them and the distant tower ahead, Sujuru led confidently. Together, they stepped forward. The tower awaited, and with it, answers that would shape all their futures. Sujuru's party reached the tower's core. Sensing danger, Sistina stepped forward to test her skills. With silent confidence, she attacked first, confronting beasts hiding in the shadows ahead. As Sistina charged alone, Sujuru noticed her intense focus. He questioned her motives, but Hotaru reassured him it was the right call. A fierce battle erupted, claws and steel clashing. The monster roared, wounded by her precise strike. Sistina's movements grew sharper, unwavering. Though Sujuru worried, he watched, realizing she fought not recklessly, but with a deeper resolve guiding her. After felling the beast, Sistina apologized for her intense display. Hotaru calmly praised her precision, noting how close the danger was. Sujuru admired her power. Sensing her pride and restraint, Hotaru questioned Sistina's delayed strike. Sistina explained her instincts leaned toward protection. Hotaru acknowledged her loyalty and defense skills, reminding her that fulfilling one's role was as crucial as raw strength. Sistina reflected on how the master's presence clouded her thoughts. Regaining composure, she promised focus. With the path ahead clear, Sujuru stepped forward. His turn to face the challenge now began. Sujuru marveled at the tower's vast interior, far grander than it appeared outside. The party advanced carefully, noting structural oddities and unseen forces that hinted the tower was anything but ordinary. Sistina explained the tower's hidden rules. Boss monsters on each floor, puzzles and resets triggered by progress. Defeating beasts advanced the team but also summoned stronger threats without pause. They learned the tower was called the Selective Tower, where enemies grew fiercer with each level. To ascend, one member must reach the upper floor, testing both strength and coordination. Curious about the tower's purpose, Sujuru questioned its existence. Before answers came, a beast approached. Hotaru signaled him to prepare, reminding him of his training. The first test had begun. The wolf lunged. Sujuru steadied his blade, recalling footwork drills. Hotaru watched closely, knowing this was his first real battle under tower rules. The creature's weight shifted unpredictably with each step. Dodging narrowly, Sujuru realized the beast moved unlike any bandit. Hotaru intercepted, warning him calmly. The wolf turned again, relentless. The lesson was clear. Tactics and teamwork would determine survival here. As the wolf flanked him, Sujuru cursed his lapse. Doubt crept in. He'd failed his role as vanguard. But the fight wasn't over yet. He pushed off, repositioning instinctively. Sistina's warning came too late. The wolf pounced, knocking Sujuru back. Fear flickered across his face. He wasn't fast enough. His blade trembled until Hotaru moved, ready to control the threat. Hotaru commanded Sistina to subdue the wolf without killing it. Calm and focused, Sistina acknowledged. The next phase of the fight shifted to control, not elimination, a chance for Sujuru to learn. Hotaru noticed Sujuru's hesitation and challenged his mindset. She urged him to see the threat differently, not just as monsters, but as killers shaped by the tower's magic and danger. Reflecting on her words, Sujuru understood monsters wouldn't spare humans. Their violence was instinctive, merciless. He tightened his grip, finally accepting the weight of survival in this unfamiliar, brutal world. Ready to face the wolf again, Sujuru asked to switch in. Sistina hesitated, but he insisted. Hotaru smiled, sensing his resolve had shifted. This time he wouldn't hold back. The wolf circled, baring its fangs. Sujuru stood firm, no longer shaken. He read its aggression not as fearsome, but predictable. A fight like this now made sense to him. He acknowledged the beast's rage but dismissed its motives. Whether angered or not, it meant nothing. To Sujuru, this creature represented evil, and evil had no right to hesitate against. With sharpened resolve, he advanced. One thought drove him: eliminate the threat. He struck fast and clean, cutting through doubt. For the first time, his sword answered with purpose. Sujuru faces the beast on the tower's first floor. With calculated speed, he deflects its fangs and strikes precisely. The monster lunges again, but Sujuru anticipates it, sending it crashing down. Sujuru's movements, refined and decisive, reflect hard-earned discipline. His victory isn't just strength, it's a result of precise control and experience. Hotaru and Sistina observe his skill with quiet awe. They regroup after battle. Sujuru praises Hotaru's guidance, grateful for her tactical advice. Sistina flusters under his gaze. The bond between them deepens subtly, built through tension, respect, and trust. Sujuru humbly accepts Hotaru's teasing offer of gratitude. Her words imply more than kindness, leaving him momentarily flustered. Meanwhile, the slain beast fades, leaving behind a magical gemstone as reward. Sistina gently tends Sujuru's arm, insisting on healing only when necessary. She expresses concern, yet hides admiration. Sujuru assures her with a confident smile, deepening their bond with mutual respect. The mood turns lighter. Hotaru and Sistina cling close, playful yet sincere. Sujuru, brimming with confidence, promises further strength. But a distant sound warns. More beasts lurk beyond, watching from the shadows. With renewed confidence, Sujuru takes command, assigning roles. Sistina leads the charge while Hotaru supports with calm precision. Their teamwork tightens. Tension rises as monsters appear, ready to test their unity. Sujuru advances, cutting with speed and control. Hotaru calls out enemy positions, her insights guiding each strike. Sistina keeps pace, focused but slightly nervous. The trio begins syncing in battle rhythm. Hotaru identifies the enemy ranks, wolves and a puppet, each posing different threats. She moves in with poise, anchoring the group. Sujuru feels a thrill. This is the fight he trained for. The battle ends. Hotaru, calm and satisfied, confirms the floor is cleared. Sistina praises her spirit. As plans shift toward ascending further, a shout interrupts. Someone urgently objects to their progress. A merchant, Wilmark, introduces himself and raises concern about their missing party ring. Hotaru verifies his honesty. Though cautious, the group listens as he offers useful guidance and rare tools. Wilmark reveals a case of black stones, party rings, designed for coordination in the tower. He explains their function, magical resonance that keeps teammates aware of each other's positions across floors. Wilmark states the price, 300,000 marl. Shocked, the group hesitates. Sistina catches his interest. He pauses the sale. Sensing her background, he offers something unexpected, shifting the situation in their favor. Identifying Sistina as an acolyte, Wilmark offers a ring as a gesture of goodwill, hoping to build ties. Sujuru weighs the risk but sees potential in the contract-based arrangement. Sujuru agrees. Seeing the terms as fair, a formal pact is made. But as Sistina activates the contract, the magic triggers punishment, revealing the cost of violating sacred rules of her faith. Under the moonlight, Sistina assures them she's fine. Sujuru, frustrated by her self-sacrifice, scolds her. Emotions run high. Later, intimacy and vulnerability are shared, reinforcing their growing trust and closeness. The group rests together. Their bond feels deeper after the ordeal. With calm determination, they look ahead. Tomorrow brings another climb. Apologies are forgiven, and commitment to teamwork quietly solidifies. Sujuru reflects on their combat progress and prepares mentally. Training hasn't boosted his stats. Until now. The gemstone he collected, combined with his sword's trait, begins enhancing his abilities steadily. Sujuru confirms his training value increased. Encouraged, he resolves to grow stronger and supports Sakura. The team prepares for another tower climb, aligned in purpose and motivated to advance together. At the tower's entrance, they find unexpected crowds. Confusion spreads until a Wilmark rushes over. His expression is tense. Something has gone wrong on the first floor. He calls for Sujuru. The merchant reveals troubling news. A serious incident occurred during the night. As murmurs rise among the adventurers, urgency builds. Sujuru and his party brace for what awaits them below. The group learns no monsters appeared on the first floor. Hotaru theorizes overhunting may be the cause, but others question it. The balance of the dungeon seems disrupted, unnaturally and suddenly. Wilmark reveals another party vanished after entering. Concern rises as survivors speak of high-level monsters appearing early. A scout team prepares to investigate, but something deeper is clearly unfolding. Sujuru's party hears that many new adventurers are trapped near the center. Sistina steps forward, determined to help. They now face a harder truth. The dungeon is evolving beyond expectation. Sistina suggests calling an experienced rescue party, but Hotaru disagrees. They can save those trapped, as long as they avoid the boss. Tension rises. Sujuru silently weighs their sense of duty. Despite Sistina's plea, Sujuru firmly refuses. He can't risk them. Hotaru and Sistina mean too much to him. He takes full responsibility, choosing to protect them over joining the mission. Sistina pushes back. Bound by her contract, she claims the right to act on justice. If Sujuru won't go, she will, alone. Her resolve stuns him into conflicted silence. Sujuru accepts Sistina's resolve. Since he can't stop her, he chooses to go with her. He reminds them both they matter deeply to him. This mission, they face together. Hotaru joins without hesitation. They share a brief, heartfelt moment before stepping forward. Sujuru affirms his desire to protect not only with strength, but by honoring what those close to him hold dear. Arriving at the tower, the trio senses a shift. Something feels off. The entrance looms with unfamiliar tension. Still, they press on. Whatever awaits inside, they're ready to face it, together. Sujuru slashed through advancing beasts with swift precision, clearing the path. The fight was relentless. Sistina and Hotaru regrouped nearby, weapons ready. They knew this battle wasn't over yet. Hotaru warned the group as a new threat emerged. Sujuru stood ready, while Sistina assessed the situation, tension rising with each step. Fierce beast-type enemies closed in, unfamiliar and ranked. Hotaru volunteered to confront the two flankers, her presence steady. Sujuru, trusting her strength, prepared to delay the last beast. Their coordinated resolve marked the start of a fierce standoff. Hotaru launched a swift attack, diverting the beasts. Sujuru stayed composed, entrusting Sistina with support. The group split formation with roles clear. The enemy advanced, and the pressure began rising. Sujuru took front, drawing attention. Sistina steadied herself, accepting her role. As the beast growled, she rushed in bravely. But the creature's glare shifted, reading their intent with unsettling clarity. Sujuru lunged to protect Sistina, blades clashing. The beast countered fiercely, sensing his move. Overwhelmed by force, Sujuru struggled. Realization hit. This enemy wasn't ordinary. Survival now hinged on split-second choices. Sistina intercepted the beast's charge with a determined strike, driven by loyalty. Her blow landed true, halting the creature momentarily. Sujuru watched, calculating their next coordinated move under pressure. Wounded but not down, the beast staggered. Sistina stood beside Sujuru, blades ready. They prepared to strike together. Just as they advanced, the enemy retaliated fast. An unseen threat took aim. A fiery blast erupted toward them. Sujuru dove, shielding Sistina as flames roared past. The attack revealed the beast's hidden strength. Narrowly surviving, they realized this fight had only escalated. As Sistina rushed to heal Sujuru, the beast lunged. Hotaru intervened, slicing through its path. She urged Sistina to delay support. Victory required one final push before anyone could rest. Hotaru charged forward, drawing the enemy's focus. Sistina hesitated but acknowledged the urgency. Sujuru struggled to rise, pain evident. The team's survival depended on one last synchronized counterattack. Sistina reassured Sujuru, stepping away to rejoin battle. Sujuru winced, managing a strained response. Though injured, he watched his allies move with resolve. The reality of this world grew clearer. A woman guided Sujuru through a hidden passage, helping him endure the pain. She promised a nearby refuge, one that could offer temporary protection from the relentless threats swarming the tower. They reached a cramped hideout filled with exhausted survivors. Though resources were scarce, Sujuru were relieved to find others alive. Meanwhile, the battle outside still demanded resolution from Sistina and Hotaru. Hotaru unleashed her strength in a final offensive. Her blade collided with the beast's full force. Focused and relentless, she struck with precision, intent on ending the conflict in one blow. Hotaru's strike failed to reach deep enough. The beast countered. Sistina shouted in warning. Hotaru pivoted quickly, meeting the charge head-on with a precise, powerful swing aimed to finish it. Her blade cut cleanly this time. The beast fell. With calm control, Hotaru regrouped beside Sistina. The danger had passed. Now, their focus returned to Sujuru, still in need. Hotaru acknowledged Sakura's readiness to assist. With her help, they could revive Sujuru. Trust and teamwork remained their strength as they turned toward healing and the next step forward. Sujuru slowly regained consciousness, surrounded by concern. Sistina's relief was visible. He stirred, assessing his pain while acknowledging her role in protecting him. Despite the wounds, their bond had strengthened. Sistina, flustered but firm, began tending to his injuries. Sujuru deflected blame from her. Hotaru reassured them both. In this moment, care and humility replaced the earlier heat of battle. As Sistina treated Sujuru's back, he endured the pain quietly. Her guilt surfaced, but Sujuru's calm acceptance steadied her. They shared a quiet, vulnerable moment, shaped by trust and understanding. Sujuru expressed gratitude to Sistina for helping locate and save the survivors. Her efforts hadn't been in vain. As relief settled over the group, a quiet sense of achievement followed. Hotaru handed over a glowing gem, claiming it was left behind by the fallen beast. Sujuru, intrigued, questioned its value, unaware this find might hold far greater significance. Labeled a rare mutant gem, the crystal's power stunned them. But one woman, eyes sharp and unfamiliar, watched closely. Her intent was unclear, but her interest stirred silent tension. As the rescued group rested, a new figure approached. Sujuru recognized the woman's voice. He had saved her. Her presence brought a shift, drawing attention from Hotaru and Sistina alike. Before introductions continued, the woman interrupted with suspicion. She demanded clarity, wary of being misjudged. Her tone was defensive, suggesting she'd endured past misunderstandings in this harsh, unfamiliar environment. Sujuru calmly responded, diffusing tension with light humor. She blushed, surprised by his reaction. Her guarded posture softened slightly, sensing his sincerity. For the first time, trust began to form. Sujuru's sincerity caught the woman off guard. Embarrassed but grateful, she thanked him. Her defenses lowered further, while Hotaru and Sistina observed silently. Sensing a new dynamic forming in the group, Sujuru shifted focus, asking about the mysterious gem. The woman explained its origin, flame fangs from the 7th floor, far stronger than usual. The gem's rarity hinted at a growing threat. She detailed the monster's unnatural power and the value of its gem. Sistina completed Sujuru's treatment. Grateful, he smiled. The group now faced a deeper mystery surrounding these evolving beasts. Sujuru asked Sistina to heal the other survivors. Meanwhile, the new woman introduced herself as Frey, a beast swordswoman sent on escort duty. Her confident tone hinted at experience. Sujuru requested Frey to guide the rescued explorers to safety. He formally introduced himself, and Frey acknowledged the debt. Trust formed between them as priorities shifted toward regrouping and survival. Frey's sudden closeness startled Sujuru. Hotaru intervened with calm authority, reminding him of the tension over the gem. Discretion, she warned, was vital to avoid unnecessary conflict among the group. A new man appeared, openly hostile toward Sujuru. Identifying Frey, he questioned her loyalty. His tone carried resentment, hinting at deeper tension between them and a possible history of control. He grabbed Frey aggressively, reminding her of her place. Caught off guard, she couldn't resist. Embarrassed and humiliated, she apologized instinctively, his presence clearly oppressive, rooted in past authority. Sujuru, witnessing the exchange, stood up with quiet resolve. His calm but firm warning carried weight. The tension shifted. For the first time, the aggressor hesitated under Sujuru's unwavering gaze. Sujuru checked on Frey, who quietly assured him she was okay. The cowardly man from earlier trembled nearby, avoiding eye contact. The power dynamic had clearly shifted in Sujuru's favor. Hotaru acknowledged Sujuru's growing leadership. He reflected on their efforts. They had saved many and fulfilled key goals. The group prepared to move again, united and calm despite lingering tension. Sujuru asked Hotaru to scout ahead. She sensed more people near the floor boss chamber. With a new objective forming, they turned their attention to what awaited in the depths. Sistina, overwhelmed by emotion, pleaded to escape with Sujuru and Hotaru. Declaring them most important to her, she confessed fear. But Hotaru's firm refusal made it clear. The mission wasn't over. Sujuru gently rejected the idea of retreat. He understood Sistina's fear, but knew running now would mean avoiding growth. Her intentions were kind, but rooted in emotion, not strategy. Reflecting silently, Sujuru realized Sistina's actions stemmed from a need to protect. But her strength should serve a greater cause. He resolved to help her see that through action. Hotaru reminded Sistina she wasn't alone. Sujuru, too, knew what she truly desired: to help. They gently pushed her forward, treating her with respect, not pity. Her strength wasn't overlooked. Encouraged by their words, Sistina found clarity. With her heart steady, she voiced it. She wanted to save others. This time, her motivation came from courage, not fear. Sujuru agreed without hesitation. They would go together. Inspired, Sistina felt her resolve harden. For the first time, she stepped forward, not behind someone, but beside them. Hotaru led the group forward, calm and focused. Sujuru and Sistina followed her lead, now unified in purpose. Their bond had deepened, and their resolve to act as one had solidified. They moved through the cavern cautiously. Hotaru observed signs of monster absence, likely caused by the Flame Fang's prior dominance. A rare moment of calm gave hope for a safer route. Hotaru's senses flared. A threat loomed ahead. Without hesitation, she urged the group to advance. Trusting her instincts, they picked up speed, racing forward before the danger could reach them. Screams echoed through the stone corridor. A survivor fled, cornered by a towering beast. The team, rushing in, feared they were too late, but the cries meant there was still a chance. Sujuru spotted the monster ahead. A wounded explorer was trapped. Driven by urgency, he charged forward. The group synchronized instinctively. This wasn't just a fight, it was a rescue mission. Hotaru led the attack with unshaken focus. Sistina and Sujuru followed close behind. With blades raised and hearts aligned, they charged their goal: save lives before darkness could claim them. A beast from the 12th floor lunged without warning. Hotaru stepped forward, her blade drawn with precision. The monster's roar echoed through the stone chamber, shaking both Sistina and Sujuru into action. Hotaru's slash missed by a hair as the creature twisted midair. Sujuru watched, stunned by the bear's reflexes. He stepped in, drawing his swords with silent determination to assist her. Just as Sujuru prepared to strike, the monster vanished without a trace. The battlefield fell silent. Confused, they scanned the area. Hotaru's voice broke the tension. "Don't be so surprised." Hotaru quickly identified the illusion, camouflage concealing the bear's real location. She instructed Sujuru with clarity. He moved clumsily at first, but urgency took over as the monster struck without hesitation. The bear's attack landed hard. Hotaru explained its unique traits: camouflage and stealth, a rare blend. Together, they repositioned, trying to track the creature's movements in a space where sound failed. Hotaru reminded him to observe everything, not just one spot. Sujuru steadied his stance, analyzing the battlefield. With a quiet grin, he readied Sakura, surprised by his own rising adrenaline. Sujuru detected movement to his right. As he turned, the air warped unnaturally. A heavy force exploded near him, scattering dust and stone, revealing the creature's ability to distort space. Realization struck. The warped impact wasn't random, it followed the beast's path. Sujuru studied the cracked ground, piecing together its motion. This wasn't just stealth, it was spatial manipulation cloaked in brute force. Hotaru met the monster head-on, her blade locking its momentum. Sujuru, now clear-headed, watched the distortion pattern. With Hotaru restraining it, he prepared to strike, this time, reading both space and intent. Sujuru launched forward as Hotaru pinned the beast. Timing his move precisely, he closed in with speed. For a brief second, the monster hesitated, its position exposed and its momentum broken. Hotaru held firm while Sujuru committed fully to the strike. His blade flashed overhead. Calling to his weapon spirit, he aimed true, cutting past the creature's fangs with practiced resolve. The blow connected, forcing the bear back in a violent recoil. Hotaru followed through without pause, slashing the weakened foe mid-spin. Their coordination turned a deadly ambush into a counter-offensive. The beast collapsed. Hotaru stood steady, Sujuru catching his breath. He acknowledged Sakura's strength, contrasting it with his other sword, still unnamed, still blunt against true danger. A warrior's reflection began. Hotaru praised his effort, noting his swordplay. But Sujuru focused on the weapon. If it was to protect others, it needed a true name, one deserving of its growing spirit. Sistina returned with survivors. Sujuru asked about their fate, relieved to hear 2 were saved. The girl introduced herself as Ahri, the boy as Tor, grateful, but visibly shaken. Sujuru repeated the names, eyes scanning the area. Only Ahri and Tor had survived. The others were gone. The aftermath settled in, quiet, heavy, marked by loss and unanswered questions. Hotaru spoke with calm regret. They were too late to save the last fighter. His name was Baku. His wounds were deep, his strength spent defending the 2 until help came. Tor honored Baku's sacrifice. Thanks to him, they'd endured. But the true threat emerged, towering and ominous. Tor clenched his fist, revealed the monster boss on the floor they are currently on. Tor trembled, tears falling as he recalled the monster, something beyond any warning or record. Beside him, Ahri stayed close, silently comforting him with steady words and a protective vow. Hotaru listened, observing their bond. She noted Tor's promise was bold but fragile. True protection meant strength, not desperation. Sujuru watched, reflecting on his own resolve as emotions surfaced. Hotaru spoke calmly. To protect, one must grow stronger, not just feel deeply. Her gaze met Sujuru's, sharp but sincere. He nodded, understanding. No power without clarity. No clarity without purpose. Hotaru explained a mental link, a fusion of magic and resonance. Their thoughts connected through shared intent. Sujuru grasped the concept quickly, sensing meaning in her words rather than hearing them. With communication clear, Hotaru and Sujuru prepared to speak privately. Meanwhile, Ahri thanked the group. They asked about the lost items. Unfortunately, all artifacts had been left behind during the attack. Weapons and gear were scattered across the boss's lair. Only what they carried now remained. With resolve returning, Sujuru gave the signal. The group turned quietly, ready to move forward. As they walked, Tor reflected on Baku's fate, his sacrifice slowly erased. Sistina explained that fallen warriors vanish inside the tower, devoured as part of its dark, self-sustaining ecosystem. Sujuru paused, absorbing the unsettling truth. Inside this place, they were nothing more than fuel. Hotaru quietly reassured him. No threats lingered now, but her tone hinted at something else approaching. A presence neared, only one, steps light but clear. Hotaru sensed it first, suggesting Sujuru take the lead. Whoever approached wasn't attacking yet, but caution still shaped every breath forward. Turning the corner, Sujuru froze. A familiar voice called his name, Frey, someone he never expected to see again. Her smile was confident. Their reunion hinted at deeper stories yet untold. Frey returned to help Sujuru, despite the others escaping. Grateful, Sujuru welcomed her aid. Together with Hotaru and Sistina, they agreed to move as one, determined to fight their way out. The group gathered, preparing for what's ahead. Hotaru predicted another battle soon, and Sujuru acknowledged the urgency. Frey, calm but alert, stayed close as they all braced for another confrontation. They discussed tactics. Hotaru, the vanguard, led with powerful strikes. Sistina focused on defense. Frey supported both fronts. Sujuru, a ranger, admitted limited offense. Coordination became key to surviving together. Frey grew suspicious of Sujuru's claim of weak combat skills. His technique betrayed training. Sujuru admitted Hotaru had been helping him. Frey, still curious, noticed something unusual about his gear. Sujuru explained his dual sword stance, cautioning about spacing. Frey misunderstood his posture, sparking an awkward exchange. Though flustered, she tried to focus, but Sujuru remained slightly amused by her reaction. As tension rose, Frey clarified she was observing the sword. Sujuru teased her, confirming her gaze. Despite the embarrassment, their camaraderie deepened, hinting at growing trust in their partnership. Sujuru realized Frey had been inspecting Sakura, his wakizashi. To cover his mistake, he claimed it was a family heirloom. Though vague, his story sounded convincing enough to avoid suspicion. He continued the tale, blending truth with fiction. Frey listened quietly, her expression softening. She apologized for triggering his memories. Sujuru, surprised by her kindness, noted her unexpectedly gentle nature. Frey opened up, revealing her own past. She had lost her parents long ago and had cared for 2 weak younger brothers. Her strength had been born from necessity. Frey continued sharing her hardships, hinting at mistreatment by employers. Sujuru realized her experiences were darker than expected. She thanked him for defending her earlier, a moment of mutual understanding forming. Their conversation was cut short as Hotaru warned of an ambush. The enemies had surrounded them. The group quickly prepared. Sujuru agreed to split up as tension spread through the team. Weapons drawn, Sujuru gave orders as Frey confused. Sestina was assigned to defend both flanks. The group moved swiftly, each taking formation. With enemies closing in, they braced for the battle ahead. Hotaru left to intercept another threat, leaving Sujuru and Frey to act. Frey hesitated but nodded, following him down the corridor. The atmosphere tensed as monsters approached from behind. A screech echoed through the tunnel. Tower ants emerged, their chitin glistening. The leader, a larger ant-man, advanced aggressively. Frey identified the danger, realizing this creature commanded the entire swarm. Sujuru assessed the threat. The ant-man's rank confirmed a significant challenge. With Frey at his side, he prepared to engage, knowing defeating the leader was key to stopping the others. Sujuru devised a plan. Frey would lure the smaller tower ants while he focused on the general. Timing was critical. Letting them break through would endanger Hotaru and Sestina. With Sakura ready, Sujuru steeled himself. A sudden shift in his expression revealed his seriousness. Frey, surprised by his focus, followed orders. The battlefield was now split between roles. The enemy surged forward. Frey moved left to intercept. Sujuru, coordinating with her movements, prepared to flank. Their synchronization marked the beginning of a precise, high-stakes counterattack in the corridor. Frey dashed forward, clashing with the first ant. Her swift movements and precise strikes disrupted their formation. She showed no hesitation, taking down multiple enemies while maintaining control of distance. With one clean cut, she disabled another ant. Her strength and form revealed her true capabilities. Sujuru observed, impressed by her sharp instincts and how fluidly she handled each threat. Frey paused briefly, catching her breath. Sujuru now understood what it meant to be a beast swordswoman. As she held the line, he moved to eliminate the ant-man's command. Sujuru charged ahead, ignoring the lesser threats. His focus was the ant-man leader. With speed and purpose, he closed the gap, determined to end the battle before others were hurt. The ant-man raised its claws, but Sujuru anticipated the attack. Feinting left, he struck fast and low. His blade cut through its guard, exploiting the opening with practiced precision and force. The feint worked perfectly. Sujuru's counterattack landed cleanly. The ant-man staggered, injured but not down. He kept pressure on, unrelenting, knowing this moment would decide the outcome of their encounter. With a decisive strike, Sujuru shattered the ant-man's core. Frey, still battling nearby, heard the impact. She called out, ready to assist as the battle entered its final phase. Sujuru regrouped with Frey, acknowledging her efforts. He entrusted the last remaining monsters to her. Though fatigued, she accepted the task, showing gratitude for his support during the intense fight. Frey handed over the loot with quiet respect. Sujuru deflected credit, recognizing her defense. Their exchange, though simple, deepened mutual trust born from battle, each recognizing the other's strength and resolve. Sujuru prepared to intercept the ant-men, unaware of the shift ahead. But something changed, an overwhelming feeling surged through him. The connection with Sakura suddenly vanished, replaced by cold emptiness. The truth struck, Sakura had been taken. Memories and rage collided in his mind. Not just a weapon, Sakura was family. The loss lit a fire beneath his calm surface. He spotted the thief's trail. Heart pounding, Sujuru moved with resolve. His grip tightened. With one word echoing in his mind, evil, he vowed to recover what was stolen, no matter the cost. As Frey ran through the halls, Sakura's faint voice echoed in Sujuru's mind. Trapped and calling out, she pleaded for help. Sujuru's resolve hardened. He would bring her back. Frey hesitated at the threshold, torn between guilt and desperation. Her brother's safety depended on her choice. Sujuru waited in silence, knowing her betrayal came from a place of pain. Sujuru, calm yet resolved, extended a hand, offering her the stolen blade and gem. Frey fled, heart pounding. Shame burned within, but she accepted the burden for her brother's freedom. They ran through the corridors, steps echoing with urgency. Frey clutched the relics tightly, knowing the risk. Behind her, Sujuru followed, determined to protect the one who had once betrayed him. Frey froze as Sujuru's sharp gaze locked on her. The air thickened, fear surged through her chest, her instinct screamed to run. Sujuru's silence spoke louder than any accusation. She dashed away, panic rising. He'll kill me, she thought. Every footstep behind her echoed louder. Her mind spiraled. Why didn't escape work? He should have been outmatched. Something felt off. Memories flickered. Sujuru once showed warmth, even kindness, but that softness hit a cold edge. He watched her retreat, unbothered. Quietly, he prepared to confront what came next without hesitation. Frey ran through the corridor, heart pounding. Guilt crushed her chest as Sujuru closed in. Her legs trembled. The past and present clashed. Was she fleeing danger or her own choices? Memories resurfaced. Bart, once friendly, offered help when her brother fell ill. With no options, she accepted. The cost came quietly, requests turned to commands, and her resistance faded away. What began as kindness twisted into cruelty. Her body became a bargaining chip. Ashamed and broken, she endured. Bart, who promised help, had taken everything, leaving only regret behind. Frey recalled the nights she endured for her brother's sake, the revulsion, the pain. She bore it in silence. It wasn't choice but sacrifice. Her spirit fractured, but she kept running. Tears blurred her sight. Rage and fear mixed inside. To think her life might end over one desperate act, it felt cruel. She pushed forward, driven by duty, not survival. The footsteps behind her vanished. She slowed, unsure. This wasn't over. She had to deliver the relic. It was never about escape. It was always about saving the one who mattered. Frey stumbled into danger. A monstrous beast blocked her path. Panic erupted, but behind her, Sujuru had caught up. He saw her fear and recognized her actions stemmed from desperation. Without hesitation, Sujuru charged. Frey backed away as the creature lunged. His blade clashed with claws. She froze, watching the one she betrayed now risking himself to protect her again. Sujuru's shout jolted her. He held the beast off, unwavering. Frey's hand trembled as she reached for what mattered. The sword, the gem. Her decision had caused this. Now she had to act. Sujuru held Sakura firmly, calm despite the chaos. With a soft smile, he welcomed the weapon home, his trust in it clear. Around him, tension thickened as danger loomed nearby. A monstrous roar split the air. The floor boss emerged, towering and brutal. Sujuru tightened his grip. He'd face it alone, buying time, until allies returned and escape became possible. Sujuru stood face to face with the dragon mantis, a floor boss towering over him. Its presence signaled danger beyond control. With no path back, he braced for the fight alone. Sakura's voice reached him briefly. Frey stayed close, watching in fear. Sujuru, trying to stall until backup arrived, knew hesitation could kill them both. He prepared to counter the beast's charge. The boss lunged. Sujuru swung instinctively, barely dodging the claws. He shouted at Frey to move. Fear pulsed through him, but he kept moving. Survival now depended on instinct and timing. The dragon mantis's tail slammed down, launching Sujuru across the floor. Dust exploded around him. He barely regained footing, shocked by the force. This wasn't a simple monster. It adapted and pressed hard. Sujuru scanned upward. The enemy struck from above, fast, deliberate. He growled and countered with a tight upward slash. No hesitation. This wasn't about pride now. It was survival through aggression. Slashing downward with precise force, Sujuru infused wind and heat into his blade. Sparks flared. He struck the monster's limb with full power, determined to stop its advance before backup arrived. Sujuru struck from above, blade descending with power. But the creature's hide deflected it. He landed hard, realizing brute force wouldn't be enough. The beast's armor was thicker than expected. He circled, analyzing the monster's patterns. Its movements were large but slow. That gave him time. He adjusted his grip, choosing speed over strength. He'd strike where it couldn't block. A quick slash landed, forcing the beast to recoil. But Sakura's short reach limited the damage. Sujuru knew he needed more. Something sharper, deeper, decisive, to bring the floor boss down. Sujuru was struck and flung back by the boss's sweeping arm. He tumbled across the stone floor, gasping for breath, pain radiating through him. Still his mind kept calculating. He caught his breath and focused. The boss wasn't reckless. It adapted quickly. There would be no clean strike. But then his eyes fixed on the stairs behind the monster. He realized he was closer to escape than the beast. If he sprinted now, reached the second floor, he might survive. The creature's size made it slower to pivot. With the monster behind him, Sujuru committed to the only plan left. Run. His blade drawn, his legs pushed forward. The floor boss roared, but he had no time to stop. Sujuru calculated the distance, 10 meters. The creature hadn't moved. He focused, counting every step. The goal was close. Thoughts of Hotaru and Sistina filled his mind, pushing him onward. His breathing was heavy, heart racing, but escape seemed within reach now. But suddenly, the beast shifted. Its gaze locked on him. Sujuru halted, confused. Something had changed, too fast to react. Sujuru collapsed as pain surged through his body. Blood stained the ground near him. He gritted his teeth, realizing the boss had outmaneuvered him just before reaching the stairs. Memories of a story surfaced, a cursed dragon, bound to guard treasure, reacting to intruders. Maybe this boss operated under the same rule. Had he triggered it by getting too close? He heard Sakura's voice, distant but firm. It cut through the haze clouding his mind. His eyes widened. It wasn't imagination. She was speaking, and she sounded different, determined. Sujuru stirred, eyes widening as Sakura's voice called out. Her words pierced through his daze. He rose shakily, confused but alive. Her presence wasn't imagined. Something about her had changed. She urged him to act. Sujuru questioned her growth, then realized the truth. Her power evolved through battle and blood. He regained strength, consuming medicine while the monster remained distracted. Crouched and recovering, Sujuru observed the boss. It hadn't noticed him. Sakura's new ability granted concealment. Quietly, he checked her stats, struck by the realization their bond had unlocked something incredible. Sujuru recalled past battles as he observed the boss. The dragon's sight wasn't sharp, it couldn't distinguish between wall and target. If he timed it right, escape might still be possible. Sakura warned him, her powers had limits. Sujuru nodded, focused. He waited for the monster's gaze to shift. It spotted him instantly after the ability wore off. The real fight resumed. He rushed in, weaving between attacks. Sakura called out timing cues. Sujuru dodged, rolled, and struck when possible. Blood loss blurred his vision, but his will to win stayed clear. Sujuru staggered as dizziness overtook him. His body barely responded. The enemy's presence loomed larger now, and his vision blurred. Every step forward became a battle against his own collapse. A sudden attack forced Sujuru to defend. Sparks flew. His blade absorbed the brunt, but his shoulder tore open. Blood poured again. He knew he couldn't take many more hits. Then, his sword snapped in half. Shock froze him momentarily. His weapon, the bastard sword, was gone. It hadn't even received a name. Sujuru stood breathless, weaponless, and still far from victory. Sujuru stood frozen, convinced he was at his limit. As the beast loomed over him, a sharp voice snapped him out of it. Hotaru had arrived, blades ready. She caught Sujuru mid-collapse, her presence steadying him. He barely felt pain anymore. Hotaru's timing was perfect. Her confidence signaled a shift. He wasn't alone. Backup had finally reached him. Hotaru faced the monster, commanding Sistina to heal Sujuru. Calm yet fierce, she stepped forward. As Sujuru faded into unconsciousness, she promised to handle the threat until he could rise again. Sujuru panicked seeing Hotaru's injury, but she dismissed it calmly. Hotaru stood by, ready to explain. Hotaru told him to focus on recovery. He reluctantly agreed, still troubled by guilt. Hotaru confronted the monster, composed. Though a sword by origin, her current form gave her human traits, blood, pain, and emotion. She took damage because of it, but stood undeterred. Sujuru blamed himself for her injury. Hotaru, however, didn't waver. Sakura regretted her own limits. Suddenly, Sistina embraced him tearfully, relieved. The group had survived, but the weight of weakness lingered. Sistina offered to heal him immediately. Sujuru, though exhausted, thanked her quietly. She asked how they arrived so fast, and explained they'd used Hotaru's detection skill and support from other adventurers. Their allies had used a party ring from a merchant to descend quickly. Sistina recalled the moments clearly. Sujuru listened, feeling overwhelmed with gratitude. Every one of them had saved him. As Sujuru received healing, Hotaru stepped forward to cover him. Her stance firm, her resolve clear. The battle wasn't over, but now, she would protect him until the end. Hotaru advanced slowly, drawing the monster's attention. She wanted it closer, right within striking range. Meanwhile, Sujuru and Sistina remained behind, receiving treatment. Every step she took was deliberate and calculated. Hotaru observed the beast's body. Its movement was stiff, but its attacks were fast, unnaturally so. She realized it used the surrounding wind to strike quickly without full-body motion. Wind-enhanced blows slashed through her outfit. She dodged, narrowly avoiding serious injury. Its limb shape puzzled her, unrefined but effective. She had to endure long enough for a proper counterstrike. Hotaru leapt in, aiming for the monster's head. She noted its head was harder to defend due to limb shape. Her attacks landed cleanly, but its skin resisted the damage. Sujuru watched, impressed by Hotaru's strength. Still recovering, he felt useless. Sistina admitted her own attacks had little effect but managed to defend herself using her support-oriented skill set. They discussed strategy. Without high-impact weapons, their options were limited. Sujuru asked about light magic, but Sistina explained it was rare and unfamiliar. Hotaru pressed the assault while they regrouped. Sujuru prepared the fire magic gem to power Sakura. Sistina cautioned him. The risk of collapsing was real. Still, he was resolved. Their chances of victory rested on this decision. Sistina offered to stand with him, just as he had supported her earlier. Her clarity cut through his hesitation. She saw his doubt and gently pushed him forward again. Her words reignited his resolve. Sujuru stood tall, knowing she believed in him. After everything they endured, they weren't backing down now. Together, they faced the next strike, determined and united. Sujuru analyzed the situation. Hotaru had the strength to finish the boss, but she needed support. He planned to distract while Sistina led the charge. Coordination would be key now. Sujuru and Sakura prepared to move. Sistina took point. Everyone accepted their role without hesitation. They no longer feared the monster. They had a plan and trust in each other. Hotaru smiled at Sujuru, recognizing his growth. He returned the look, determined. This time, they would end it together. With resolve set, they stepped forward to begin the final assault. Sistina held the boss in place, buying time. Her defense allowed Hotaru to wait patiently for a clean strike. Coordination among the team grew stronger with every passing second. Sujuru activated Sakura's stealth ability to strike from the side. He couldn't deal fatal damage, but each small attack chipped away at the enemy, slowly weakening its balance and awareness. He targeted the left leg repeatedly. The creature shrieked in pain. The plan was working. For the first time, Sujuru saw a clear reaction and a real chance to win. Sujuru urged continuous strikes. The enemy began to falter. Everyone pushed hard, expecting a weak point to appear. Hotaru waited patiently, eyes focused, ready to finish the fight once it came. At last, Hotaru moved to strike, but something felt wrong. As she closed in, the boss revealed its real trap. Sujuru and Sistina realized too late. It wasn't defenseless, it was baiting. The beast's counterattack launched Hotaru into the air. Sujuru reached out, too far to intervene. Panic struck him. This wasn't just a setback. It was a moment he might truly regret. Sujuru froze, watching Hotaru fall. He blamed himself, overwhelmed by regret. But with Sakura's plea and Sistina's support, he chose action. He would fight. No more waiting. He couldn't stay passive. Sakura's transformation began. Sujuru channeled the fire gem into her, triggering a powerful change. She embraced the magic, pushing her abilities further. What followed was speed, energy, and overwhelming momentum. Sakura moved faster than sight, enhanced by stealth. She launched a devastating fire spell directly at the beast. The explosion rocked the battlefield. Sujuru realized the tide had finally turned. Sakura danced around the floor boss, using her speed to stay out of reach. She unleashed precise magic bursts, keeping it disoriented. Her new strength would finish the battle soon. Sakura remained hidden, undetected by the boss. Her concealment skill held firm. With a confident stance, she declared her mission, to eliminate anything that threatened her master. The battle wasn't over. She unleashed a barrage of fire magic. Arrows rained from the air, forcing the monster back. It shrieked in pain, overwhelmed. Sakura pushed harder, showing no intention of slowing down. Sakura spotted the opportunity and called to Sujiro. Sistina signaled the timing. This was their moment. Everyone moved in sync, ready to end it. Sujiro shouted, preparing for the final blow. Hotaru's earlier mistake echoed in Sujiru's thoughts. She had been wounded while protecting him, rushing in too soon. Her pain reflected his weakness. He couldn't ignore the cost of that choice. She sat injured, her leg was broken, blaming herself for the misjudgment. Sujiro, overwhelmed with guilt, believed his own lack of strength led to everything. The injury, the risk, the suffering around them. But Hotaru reminded him he had only just arrived in this world. His progress, despite inexperience, was exceptional. She saw his growth and believed in his potential without hesitation. Sakura launched another spell, Fire Release. Lance. The blazing projectile struck the floor boss hard, creating a direct impact. It reeled from the blow, showing signs of weakening under her pressure. Her speed and strength gave her the advantage. She darted in and out, attacking relentlessly. Sujiro noticed she held her ground well. Still, concern grew. Was she pushing too far? Hotaru sensed danger. The boss wasn't falling, it was preparing something. She warned Sujiro to hold back. Charging now would be reckless. Whatever the enemy planned, it wouldn't be ordinary. The floor boss suddenly curled inward, its limbs folding close. Sujiro watched carefully. Something wasn't right. The enemy wasn't collapsing. It was preparing. A defensive form, tight and deliberate, took shape. They realized Sakura's magic had stripped away some of its outer scales. To compensate, the boss solidified its body, tightening the gaps. It wasn't retreating, it was hardening for endurance. Sakura and Sistina resumed their attacks. They struck together, aiming to break through its compacted shell. But each blow barely pierced the new defense. The boss was now cornered, but durable. Sujiro smiled, believing victory was near. The team had fought well together, but then he noticed something strange. Energy pulsed through the dragon's body. Its scales shimmered, and danger crept in. Sujiro locked eyes with the beast. It was changing. Its body swelled unnaturally, magical pressure building rapidly. He shouted, warning the others. Sistina and Sakura turned, confused by the sudden panic. Before they could react, the dragon released a deafening roar and a massive energy burst. The shockwave engulfed the battlefield. Screams echoed as the team was sent flying through the air. Sakura and Sistina lay wounded, unable to move. The enemy's outburst had scattered them all. Sujiro cradled Hotaru, she barely conscious. He rose, trembling with rage as despair took hold. Seeing Hotaru bloodied triggered Sujiru's fury. His clenched fist trembled, heart pounding with raw hatred. Eyes locked on the monster, he shouted with unfiltered rage, stepping forward alone toward the beast. The dragon faced him, breathing heavily, its power still radiating, but Sujiro didn't flinch. His friends injured, his heart burning, he marched forward. No longer just surviving, now ready to strike. Sujiro stood between the unconscious girls and the approaching beast. Dust fell from the broken ceiling. With a firm stance, he called Hotaru. He couldn't let the enemy advance further. Hotaru responded instantly, emerging from her vessel. Her expression was calm and loyal. She extended her hand toward Sujiro, transferring her power as light surged around his rising body. Sujiru's body ignited with force. Torn cloth fell as his energy stabilized. With Hotaru fully summoned, his grip tightened. The enemy flinched. Now armed, Sujiro prepared for a decisive counterattack. Hotaru, severely damaged, could only be used once more. Sujiro tightened his grip, knowing the outcome rested on one blow. The dragon advanced, sensing hesitation as the chamber shook violently. Sistina, barely conscious, offered her last words before collapsing. Her strength was gone. Sujiro didn't look back. He heard her, but his eyes stayed on the beast before him. Sakura crawled forward, bleeding and exhausted. She apologized weakly, blaming herself for their state. Sujiro stood firm. Even with allies down, he would finish this with Hotaru, no mistakes allowed. Sujiro focused, ignoring the pain. Sakura's voice gave strength, not doubt. The dragon lunged with rage. Hotaru hummed with unstable energy. This final moment would decide life or death. He leaped forward, blade raised high. The dragon's jaws opened wide, but Sujiro didn't hesitate. With a powerful cry, he brought Hotaru down, aiming everything into one decisive final strike. The monster's assault grew relentless. Sujiru's arm throbbed, blood dripping. Pain clouded his focus, but he stood firm. Despite fatigue and injuries, he refused to fall before the enemy's charge. Even without its scales, the beast moved faster. Sujiro adjusted, reading its motion, dodging each blow narrowly. His grip stayed tight. The tide hadn't turned yet, but he still endured. Noticing a shift, he realized the monster was losing rhythm. Sweat rolled down his face as he made a decision. Sujuru gathered his strength and prepared for one precise counter. Sujuru landed a clean strike on the monster's chest. Sakura and Sistina watched in shock as his final blow connected. His body collapsed after impact, overcome by pain and exhaustion. Darkness followed. Hours passed before light returned. Sujuru awoke in a bed, disoriented. Sistina rushed to his side, relieved. The fierce battle was over, but questions still lingered in him. Sistina scolded him gently, revealing he had been unconscious for 2 days. She had stayed by his side, watching over him. Sujuru listened silently, grateful for her quiet devotion. Sujuru hugged Sistina with quiet gratitude. She had stayed through his worst moment. He asked about Hotaru and Sakura. Both were recovering slowly, having suffered heavy damage from the fight. The room was calm, the air light. Sujuru accepted the toll of battle. Though victory came with wounds, they had defended their beliefs. He knew this peace wouldn't last forever. Sistina insisted he continue resting. Sujuru agreed, asking her to stay and explain what he'd missed. With a faint smile, she joined him. For now, recovery came before any answers. Sistina quietly rested beside Sujuru, her worry now at ease. He turned toward the sword resting near the bed, sensing presence. Hotaru's voice confirmed she and Sakura had recovered. Hotaru appeared, her form restored. Sakura too had awakened, confirming her condition. Sujuru asked about the aftermath. Both girls assured him they were safe, though Sistina had neglected her own rest. Hotaru began explaining the events after Sujuru collapsed. Sistina, barely stable, had carried both girls toward safety. Weakened but determined, she pushed forward through the ruins until her legs finally gave out. Recalled when Frey apologized to Sujuru and confessed her guilt. Despite her tears, she offered help. Sistina accepted her apology, asking her to keep the other secrets hidden from the public. With their strength combined, the group returned to the inn. Sistina reported their victory. She was instructed to claim a reward from the Lord, but her focus remained on Sujuru. Sistina had healed him non-stop, resting only to recover mana, then continuing. Sujuru listened in silence, realizing how much she had sacrificed while he remained unconscious from the brutal fight. Sujuru mentioned Frey. Hotaru, now fully recovered, listened closely. Though unsure of the reason, she accepted the task. Determined, she volunteered without hesitation, showing full trust in Sujuru's judgment. After a brief moment, Sakura launched herself into action. Her agility returned fast. Sujuru warned her gently, but she smiled, promising to obey his wishes. She vanished quickly beyond the doorway. Hotaru watched quietly as Sakura departed. Sistina voiced concern, doubting the mission's urgency. Sujuru, with a soft laugh, admitted her intuition was sharp. He couldn't hide anything from her anymore. Sakura moved silently under moonlight. Her goal was clear: find answers. Frey had once stolen her. Now, Sakura wanted to uncover the truth and see who was truly responsible. Frey explained her failure. Her regret was evident, but something deeper stirred in Hotaru. Watching quietly, she questioned Frey's motives and prepared to judge if she still posed a threat. Hotaru returned with a calm resolve. She asked Sujuru for permission to eliminate Frey if needed. He didn't answer directly but trusted her. She smiled, knowing exactly what to do. Sakura returned with frustration and honesty. She reported the encounter bluntly, clearly irritated. Sujuru welcomed her back, surprised by her timing. The room shifted as everyone realized Hotaru was missing. Sistina explained Hotaru's change. She had taken human form. Sakura couldn't hold back her joy and embraced everyone. With laughter and warmth, the atmosphere turned light, their bond stronger than before. Sakura pulled Sujuru close, expressing feelings she'd hidden. Her words were direct. With no more doubt, she kissed him gently, hoping he finally understood how much he truly meant to her. Sakura embraced Sujuru and made a request. She wanted him to speak to her the same way he did in battle. The bond between them deepened through unspoken trust. Their kiss held more than affection. It was her way of grounding herself. Sakura confessed her love, finally honest with her feelings. She smiled, though her eyes hinted at pain. Sakura apologized, burdened by guilt over the past. Sujuru understood. She still carried sadness from that day. Watching her quietly, he knew her heart still wrestled with the choice she made. Sujuru held Sakura gently, expressing how much she meant to him. She smiled, touched by his words. After so much chaos, this moment gave them both peace and reassurance. They laughed softly, close in heart and mind. Sujuru apologized for his absence during recovery. Sakura brushed it off, asking for his full affection, wanting to be treated equally to Hotaru. Their warmth lingered into morning. Lying beside him, Sakura shifted to serious matters. She revealed the truth. Frey's brother hadn't been given medicine at all. The man had been poisoned. Sujuru brushed off the past, telling Frey it was over. She was stunned but relieved. Word spread quickly. Bart was dead. Frey was now free, but confusion filled her thoughts. The town buzzed. Bart's death raised suspicions. Only those with rare weapon transformation abilities could have done it. Frey began to connect the signs. Hotaru and Sakura had both been nearby. Back at the inn, excitement rose. Sujuru revealed a new sword had appeared. With smiles all around, the group welcomed their newest companion, another step forward in their growing journey. Sujuru sat up, browsing his abilities. Among them, a new skill caught his eye, magic sword summoning. Curious, he shared the discovery with Sakura. A new path had just opened. Excited by the skill's potential, Sujuru activated it. Light gathered between his hands, forming a sword. The others gathered, eager. They wondered, would this be the arrival of a new ally? A sword appeared, aged but sharp. Hotaru inspected it carefully. Sujuru asked if she recognized it. The group stood silent, waiting. This sword might be more than just another weapon. Sujuru recalled the moment he first saw the sword as a child. It had stood out, yet he'd hesitated. Now it was in his hands again, fate decided. Reading the sword's traits, Sujuru was shocked. This wasn't ordinary. It was a famous historical blade linked to Tokugawa Ieyasu. The group looked on, surprised by its unexpected origin and status. Sujuru was frustrated but couldn't stay angry. Despite its weight in history, the sword had clearly chosen him now. Hotaru casually suggested returning the sword, unfazed by its value. Sujuru teased Hotaru over the sword's age. She countered smoothly, stating battle experience mattered more. The conversation sparked playful tension, drawing laughter and blushing remarks from the others in the room. Hotaru argued she was Sujuru's original choice. Proud of her high rank, she pulled him close, ignoring interruptions. The old sword's rank couldn't compare, and Hotaru made that clear. Amused and exasperated, Sujuru realized this was just Hotaru's nature. With wit and confidence, she shut down her rival's claim. Her teasing may have gone far, but her pride was sincere. Sujuru observed the swords, recalling how they often argued even back in storage. Their voices returned with familiar banter, revealing their long-standing rivalry masked behind loyalty and sharp tongues. He found it odd to call a girl Sukezan. The sword spirit grew flustered, apologizing for her informal greeting. Hotaru watched, amused, as Sujuru gently took command of the moment. Sujuru decided to give her a new name, Aoi. Inspired by heritage and symbolism, the name marked a new beginning. The sword spirit accepted, smiling. As her bond with him deepened, the newly named Aoi responded with joy, praising the name. Sujuru welcomed her officially, relieved to have a sword once more. The bond between them started forming naturally. Aoi declared her worth, determined to outshine the others. Sujuru smiled, grateful for her spirit. The group felt whole again, though past dangers still lingered just beneath their relief. Before more explanations, Sujuru reminded Aoi of what they'd faced. A brutal fight nearly ended them days ago. Even now, memories of that battle echoed in each of their minds. Aoi hesitated, unsure if the monkey meant Sakura. Sujuru clarified. Hotaru and Sakura had both fought fiercely. To Aoi, this world's danger was becoming clearer with every story she heard. Sujuru spoke directly, his tone serious. Battles would come often. He asked Aoi to stay committed, no matter the challenge. His words weren't harsh, but filled with expectation and resolve. As Sestina entered, Sujuru ended the conversation. They had business ahead, an audience with the Lord. Yet as he turned to leave, he spoke softly, asking for Hotaru's silent support. Hotaru noticed Aoi's silence. Aoi quietly questioned if Sujuru was still the same boy who once cherished swords. Something about his presence now felt stronger, more grounded than before. Hotaru responded warmly. Sujuru had grown quickly, not just in strength, but in heart. His care for those around him remained. Aoi hesitated, but couldn't deny the truth in her words. Aoi reflected on the swords left behind, stored and forgotten. Unlike them, she had returned, chosen. She acknowledged the truth with quiet pride. Despite everything, she was the one who was blessed. Aoi formally pledged herself to Sujuru's service. He accepted with gratitude. Hotaru teased again, but the group's focus shifted. They were heading to the Lord's mansion, uncertain of what awaited them. The group arrived at the estate, impressed by its size and activity. Servants moved quickly, and the air buzzed with formality. Something important was clearly about to be revealed. A maid appeared and stopped them at the entrance. She apologized politely, hinting at an issue. Sujuru agreed to wait. The maid paused, then decided to explain things herself. The group learned of a noble's death, an alleged accident. Suspicion lingered in the phrasing. Sujuru stayed neutral, while Sistina's intense gaze hinted she may have already pieced something together. Inside the lounge, the group sat for refreshments. Sakura and Sujuru chatted lightly, easing tension, yet Sistina's sharp tone returned, shifting focus. She asked directly about Bart Becker's fate. Frey appeared, explaining she had already confided in Sistina. Whatever had happened to Bart, she trusted Sistina to understand. The group now shared a secret that few would ever learn. Frey's past was revealed, forced servitude under Bart to save her brother. Sistina had been informed, and though pained by the truth, she chose to withhold judgment until hearing everything. Sistina took responsibility, asking to bear the weight of the crimes with Frey. Sujuru reassured everyone. In that quiet moment, a deeper trust began forming between the group members. Sakura thanked Sistina sincerely. Sistina, uncharacteristically gentle, accepted the gratitude. Though they rarely showed it, their mutual respect was growing, strengthened by what they had endured and what they chose to forgive. As the group relaxed, Sujuru admired their unity. Suddenly, the doors burst open. A booming voice echoed. Lord Isaac d'Arca had arrived. His entrance was loud, bold, and unforgettable. Lord Isaac d'Arca stormed in loudly, praising the group for their bravery. His dramatic entrance clashed with etiquette, prompting the maid's scolding. Despite the noise, his gratitude felt sincere. Lord Isaac praised Sujuru and the team for resolving the tower threat. He stressed the importance of keeping the incident quiet to avoid panic and economic damage across the town. Sujuru agreed to silence, in exchange for transparency and stability. Sistina and Sakura observed, gradually understanding the stakes. Their actions had prevented rumors, preserving the city's reputation and public trust. To show gratitude, Lord Isaac offered a massive reward. Instead of large coins, he presented sacks of smaller ones for convenience. Sujuru was stunned. It equaled nearly 5 million yen. Sujuru warned of monsters reappearing on lower floors. Lord Isaac admitted the risk but had little control. High-level parties were dispatched, but the source of the problem still remained unclear. The tower had weakened after floor descent occurred. Though it now seemed calm, Sujuru realized it might simply be regaining strength. Their battle had temporarily reduced harm but not eliminated it. Sistina stressed secrecy again. Isaac agreed, worried that fear would stop novices from entering. Without new explorers, their forces would dwindle, leaving the city defenseless when the tower surged again. Sistina quietly agreed with the Lord's reasoning. The risk was real. If fear spread, explorers would disappear, and with them, the city's protection. Their silence helped maintain fragile stability. Sujuru understood the weight of the moment. No support existed for explorers. Without unity, they faced monsters alone. He shook Lord Isaac's hand, silently acknowledging the reality they all shared. With the meeting over, Sujuru led the group onward. He planned to visit the Bayes Company to repay Wilmark's kindness. Grateful for support, he looked ahead with calm and purpose. Sujuru shared his goal of moving to Hresvelgur and building a shared home for everyone. He wanted them to live together peacefully, starting a new chapter as a family. The vision took shape as they enjoyed a bath together, bonding more deeply. Even Sakura insisted on being part of it, unwilling to be left behind in Sujuru's growing circle. They returned to the city to shop for supplies. While Sistina explored magical gear, Hotaru and Sakura stayed close to Sujuru, each girl adjusting to life beside their chosen master. While shopping, Sujuru noticed Aoi comparing herself to Hotaru. To ease her nerves, he picked a comb he thought suited her. She happily accepted it as a meaningful gift. Aoi imagined using the comb to style her long hair like Hotaru's. Sujuru told her to keep it, marking it as a welcome gift. She beamed with pride and joy. The group arrived at the Bayes Company's local office. A staff member welcomed them, explaining they offered housing, materials, and magical goods. Sistina prepared to negotiate as their representative. Wilmark greeted them warmly, expressing thanks for Sistina's past help. Sujuru humbly acknowledged the gesture. The meeting began with mutual respect, laying the groundwork for a possible future partnership. Sistina explained how Sujuru's team saved her during a dangerous incident. Their timing was critical. Wilmark listened, surprised the rescue was done by only 3 novices in such perilous conditions. Wilmark learned they had even defeated the dungeon's floor boss. Impressed by their strength and teamwork, he felt honored to be the first to recognize the group's true potential. Wilmark admired the group's achievements, jokingly calling himself their first fan. The group welcomed the gesture warmly. Sistina handled the negotiations while Sujuru's party continued to draw attention and respect. Wilmark confirmed the contract's conditions were met, but noted the original rings had become useless. Sistina suggested upgrading them to 4-member rings to reflect AOI's official inclusion in the group. With new rings ordered, Sujuru sat with his party. The group had grown stronger, more united. Each girl now stood as both ally and companion, bound to their leader's path. The group admired the new ring's magic, feeling each other's presence more clearly. Sujuru then asked Wilmark to help them relocate to Hresvelgr and find a shared home there. Wilmark agreed, explaining Hresvelgr's popularity among explorers made housing scarce. Still, he understood Sujuru's intentions clearly and recognized their need for a stable base in the city. Sistina presented a chest full of valuable loot. Wilmark was stunned by its worth. With that offering, he vowed to find them the best residence Hresvelgr had to offer. Excited about the new home, Sakura beamed with hope. Hotaru and Sistina discussed residence preferences, space for training, a kitchen for cooking. Sujuru appreciated their enthusiasm and growing connection as a team. As affection swelled, Sistina hugged Sujuru, moved by his kindness. Hotaru teased him about forgetting her, then suddenly tackled him with playful energy, drawing laughter and slight chaos into the room. Hotaru's ambush turned into a wrestling match on the bed. Their physical closeness hinted at deepening bonds as the girls continued asserting their place beside Sujuru, not just as allies but companions. As night fell, the bonds between Sujuru and his companions deepened in private. Emotions, trust, and shared warmth intensified. Each girl expressed affection in their own way, affirming unspoken closeness. Later, in a moment of quiet, Sujuru turned to Sistina. With sincerity, he chose to reveal the truth about his origins, finally ready to share his old world with her. Late at night, Sujuru invited Sistina outside. Beneath the stars, he finally decided to share the truth. He spoke of the world he came from and their journey's beginning. Sistina listened closely as Sujuru admitted he'd waited too long to tell her. She questioned him briefly but showed no anger, only understanding. Her expression reflected patience, not doubt. Though slightly hurt to be left out, Sistina accepted his explanation. She reminded him gently that secrets were natural. Sujuru appreciated her honesty, realizing how much she supported him silently. As the group relaxed, Sujuru began opening up. Sistina asked about someone important. Sujuru's tone shifted. His past wasn't peaceful. With visible weight, he revealed the shocking truth: he had been killed. Sujuru described his old world, modern, calm, not violent. But his family held a martial legacy. That history resurfaced violently when intruders targeted their home. He acted to protect what remained. He confessed he had taken 2 lives to defend his home. Though it cost him everything, he didn't regret protecting others. His honesty left Sistina in silent, respectful understanding. Sujuru reflected on his past. The swords they cared for meant more than his distant family. They had filled a void, giving him identity, purpose, and the only warmth he knew. Sujuru expressed guilt for what he did, but Sistina gently reminded him he had protected what mattered. To her, the bonds he forged now were stronger than any bloodline. Sistina affirmed that Sujuru already had a true family: Hotaru, Sakura, and herself. Her words reassured him deeply. As she smiled at him, Sujuru felt seen, accepted, and no longer alone. Sujuru reflected aloud, expressing his desire to live freely in this world. He then told Sistina the truth: he had died in another world and was reincarnated into this one. Sistina was stunned, unable to grasp concepts like reincarnation and planets. Though confused, she listened as Sujuru tried to explain. His origin was Earth, a completely different place from their world. Despite her surprise, Sistina realized many things now made sense. His clothes, his strange ideas. She wasn't doubting him, just unfamiliar with his words. Still, she listened with growing understanding and trust. Sujuru explained what a planet was. Using a round object as an example, he described Earth as a giant sphere, like the one they stood on in this world. Sistina struggled to grasp the concept, questioning how people stood on the bottom. Sujuru reassured her, encouraging her to imagine planets when looking at the stars scattered across the sky. He pointed upward, explaining those lights were distant stars and planets. Sistina began to realize Earth was just one among countless worlds. Her eyes widened as the universe suddenly felt vast. Sistina processed Sujuru's explanation. Though overwhelmed, She accepted it. His sincerity moved her. He reassured her gently, hoping he hadn't spoken down to her. Her reaction, however, revealed growing admiration. Sujuru declared he had no intention of returning to Earth. With his companions by his side, he had found new purpose. Sestina smiled, pledging her continued loyalty and support. Sakura, overwhelmed with joy, literally leapt through a window to join them. Hotaru commented on her boldness, while Sujuru caught her midair, surprised by her impulsive but heartfelt affection. After a playful moment, Sujuru questioned how Sestina knew about ninja. She seemed confused, prompting him to ask if she understood Nihon too. Surprisingly, she gave an accurate answer without hesitation. Sestina accessed her status screen. Her new special ability, Wisdom Archive, granted her understanding of unfamiliar terms. The group realized it had evolved due to her connection with Sujuru and his world. Sujuru explained the archive could now interpret knowledge from Earth. Excited, Sakura asked to join too. With this ability, they could now understand each other fully, across both worlds' boundaries. The group finally arrived in Hresvelgur, a bustling city alive with people and trade. Sujuru and the others admired its size and charm, guided once again by Wilmark. Wilmark explained the region's appeal: mountains to the east, fertile fields, and a southern beach. Resources and trade made the city ideal for adventurers, merchants, and anyone seeking opportunity or rest. Sujuru imagined they played at the beach. With laughter and light-hearted fun, the group relaxed together under the summer sun. For Sujuru, moments like these made this new world feel like home. At the private beach, the girls playfully called Sujuru over. They asked him to help with sunscreen, teasing him with affection. Laughter and mischief filled the air between close companions. The group shared a carefree moment, relaxing together. Sujuru struggled to keep calm amid their playful energy. Their bond had grown into trust and comfort, lightening the burdens they all carried. Later, back in town, Sujuru met Anak Bays, Wilmark's father and a grand merchant. Appraisal confirmed his identity, and plans moved forward. Meanwhile, Sestina's magic negotiation proved useful once again. With the rare gem now sold, the deal reached its conclusion. Wilmark's father was moved by its value. The Bays family pledged full support to help Sujuru settle in Hresvelgur. Sujuru and his party prepared to house hunt. The Bays company handed them a city map. As excitement rose, Sestina quietly observed how surreal their sudden wealth and opportunities had become. Though the city amazed them with towering buildings, Sestina was overwhelmed. The gem had sold for an immense sum, more than she'd imagined. Yet Sujuru seemed unaffected, focused only on their future. As they toured Hresvelgur, the girls noticed Sujuru's calm reaction. Unlike them, he wasn't amazed by the city's buildings. He'd seen taller in his past life. His composure reminded them he was truly from another world. Sujuru and his companions visited several homes. Hotaru critiqued the training space, Sestina noted a small kitchen, and Sakura demanded an attic. Sujuru quietly took notes, intrigued by their preferences. While the girls continued evaluating properties, Sujuru reviewed a large estate. The layout was impressive, yet he grew suspicious. Rumors circulated about past incidents, dark history, poor lighting, and strange locations. The group reached an imposing mansion once owned by nobility. The landlord revealed hot water mysteriously surfaced after a strange event. Though skeptical, the spacious house sparked the group's interest. The mansion, once evacuated after an incident, remained empty. Hotaru and Sujuru went to inspect the spring, now revealed as a natural hot bath source, piquing everyone's interest and curiosity. Sujuru confirmed it was indeed a hot spring, safe and rich in sulfur. Hotaru expressed quiet approval, pleased to enjoy a relaxing bath. Plans to develop it soon took shape. Sujuru outlined construction ideas, separate baths, safety features, and proper drainage. As preparations began, a team of new maids arrived, warmly greeting him, hinting at a livelier life ahead. Sakura clung tightly to Sujuru, declaring herself enough for him. Hotaru and Sestina appeared, making their presence known. Their quiet rivalry grew as they all turned attention back to the mansion. With shared excitement, the group agreed to take the mansion. The landlord, pleased with their enthusiasm, offered full support for furnishing and repairs, promising to restore the place to livable comfort. Days later, the mansion was ready. The new bath area was complete, and the rooms restored. The group moved in, grateful and joyful, stepping into their next chapter together. Sakura proudly claimed she'd learned to budget wisely. Talk of hidden room features led to billing confusion. Sujuru discovered extra costs tied to Sakura's unique preferences, much to everyone's surprise and amusement. Locals, who helped with the mansion's restoration, praised Sakura's energy and spirit. They celebrated her impact, grateful for the skills they gained. Sujuru watched her, impressed by how she inspired them. Hotaru reminded Sujuru of tomorrow's event and gently ushered guests out. With a quiet smile, she let him relax. Finally alone, Sujuru approached the bath, ready to unwind in peace. The girls joined Sujuru at the bath, wrapped in towels and cheerful. Hotaru appeared confidently, unfazed by modesty. Sujuru was flustered, unprepared for such casual boldness in the peaceful atmosphere. Hotaru asked to join him directly, her tone calm. Sujuru, overwhelmed but composed, agreed. As she settled in beside him, the others reacted playfully. The evening continued in warmth and ease. Sujuru led the group to a small specialty shop. The girls followed with interest. He paused, surprised by the building's modest size. Unsure about placing a custom order, Sujuru hesitated. Sistina explained it combined both weaponry and magical items. The girls reassured him, confident with their payment in hand. They prepared to request crafted gear and garments tailored specifically for their needs. Sujuru gently asked Hotaru to remain in sword form a bit longer, wanting her close in battle. His words held trust and reliance, affirming their bond forged through loyalty and purpose. Hotaru teased Sujuru for his confident words. As the group reached the shop entrance, their chatter drew attention. Suddenly, a voice shouted out, questioning the commotion in front of the store. An elf woman appeared, unimpressed by the noise. Sujuru identified her through magical appraisal, Rostilla, a skilled craftswoman. Her sharp demeanor quickly shifted into curiosity after recognizing their names and purpose. Rostilla welcomed them casually, revealing a laid-back personality. Sujuru, surprised by her easygoing attitude, re-evaluated his assumptions about elves. Impressed, he looked forward to working with her on their custom gear. Inside the shop, Sujuru asked Rostilla about magical artifacts. She clarified her role, handling the heavy crafting work. While skilled, she admitted her specialty wasn't in fine magic-based creations. Rostilla explained that her husband managed the detailed enchantments. The group was surprised to learn she was married. Hotaru made a quiet jab at Sujuru, who reacted awkwardly to the news. Rostilla called her husband, revealing a gruff dwarf named Dylan. His appearance matched classic fantasy tropes. Sujuru silently noted how oddly literal this world was about names and character types. Sujuru reviewed the roles. Rostilla handled the forging, while Dylan crafted intricate magical elements. Curious about their skill, he requested a demonstration. Rostilla confidently agreed and asked what task they had in mind. Sujuru presented a worn sword, asking if it could be repaired. Rostilla examined it, suggesting they could melt it down. Dylan noted the weapon's useful days were likely over. Rostilla realized the sword held special attributes, but dismissed their value for now. Sujuru was surprised she understood that without appraisal. Her focus remained on the practical task, not hidden qualities. Sujuru explained the sword's importance. It had saved his life. Wanting to honor it, he asked for something meaningful in return. Rostilla and Dylan acknowledged his sincerity and began considering options. Dylan disappeared briefly, returning with mysterious rings. Sujuru and the girls were puzzled, unsure of their purpose. Dylan explained they were mana-reactive tools that increased in weight when infused with energy. Hotaru noted she couldn't control mana, but the others encouraged her. The group saw potential in the rings for training and growth. Sujuru decided to move forward with the idea. Sujuru asked Aoi to channel her mana into the rings. With her skill, she succeeded. Hotaru protested, but her lack of control made her an easy target for teasing remarks. Sujuru tested the rings and was amazed by the result. The weight and pull were stronger than expected. He expressed gratitude to Dylan, impressed by the ring's unexpected but useful effect. Rostilla worried their work startled the group. Dylan, unusually pleased, showed it subtly. Sujuru praised their abilities and confirmed their value, officially deciding to work with them going forward. Rostilla invited the group upstairs to talk properly. They entered the workshop's second floor, filled with tools and supplies. Everyone settled in, ready to begin discussions about their requested equipment. Rostilla dropped the pleasantries and moved straight to business. Sujuru listed his order: long sword, armor with magic resistance, and support gear to ensure flexibility and defense in real battle situations. Sujuru added an unusual request: a forehead protector. Though lightly defensive, he wanted it enhanced with magical upgrades. Dylan and Rostilla considered its design, planning to integrate materials with enchantment potential. Rostilla admired the group's creativity and saw value in the forehead protector idea. She considered its potential for revolutionizing gear for female adventurers and hinted at offering them a discount. Sestina requested resistance enhancements for their wristbands. She revealed they had nearly died during a recent mission. The team's mood shifted as they recalled the life-threatening situation in the dungeon. Rostilla sympathized with their experience. Inspired by their courage, she and Dylan offered to craft top-tier gear. Payment could wait. Their belief in the group's future outweighed immediate profit. She and Dylan were motivated by the team's honesty. Despite his guilt, Sujuru appreciated the kindness and vowed to prove their worth. Sakura eagerly jumped in with her request, throwing kunai. Curious, the others learned what they were. Rostilla found the order reasonable, and Sakura excitedly added magical enhancements to aid stealth and agility. Dylan brushed his beard as he nodded. With playful confidence, Hotaru calmly declared her request. A custom brazier. Her serious tone and unexpected ask caught everyone off guard, especially Sujuru, who was left stunned and speechless. The group was confused by Hotaru's request. Sestina used her knowledge ability to explain what a brazier was. Sujuru blushed, while Rostilla and Dylan finally understood its purpose. Hotaru clarified she wanted custom support gear tailored for her needs. The team finalized their orders, and the craftsmen promised to apply their full skill. The mood was upbeat and warm. As the group stepped outside, their order complete, a cloaked stranger suddenly approached. With urgency in voice, someone called out to Sujuru, signaling the arrival of a new development. As the group prepared to leave, a familiar voice called out. A strong, battle-worn woman approached. Frey. Sujuru reacted with surprise, hinting at a past connection soon to be revisited. Frey appeared in town, urgently apologizing to Sujuru face-to-face. Her dramatic entrance caught attention. Sujuru was surprised by her sincerity, unsure how to react to her sudden emotional outburst in public. Before Frey could continue, Sakura intervened. Clearly irritated, she warned Frey to stay calm and respect Sujuru's peace. Sakura's intense glare made her hostility clear despite reluctantly sparing Frey's presence. Sakura continued to pressure Frey, emphasizing the consequences of disturbing Sujuru again. Frey backed down, promising not to escalate. Tension settled, and she quietly took her leave without further conflict. Sujuru reflected on Sakura's reaction, understanding her anger given Frey's past actions. Despite that, Sakura still agreed to help Frey, showing restraint and loyalty while staying protective of Sujuru. Frey tried to clarify her intentions, but her awkward behavior drew more attention. Embarrassed, she confessed to being broke and starving, having spent everything just to reach and apologize to them. Invited into the bathhouse, Frey hesitated as the girls offered comfort. Touched by the kindness, she felt overwhelmed. Despite insisting she didn't deserve it, emotion took over, and she wept. Frey apologized again after eating Sujuru's meal, showing genuine remorse. Though embarrassed, she thanked him for saving her. Despite Sakura's remarks, Sujuru acknowledged Frey's sincerity and let her speak freely. Frey explained how she tracked them down. She visited Bai's company's office, where she met Ahri and Tor, who helped her teleport after confirming Sujuru's location through official channels. Sujuru questioned the ease of accessing that information. Frey clarified Ahri and Tor had searched for him after he left without notice. Their group split up to express their gratitude. Frey happily requested to return later with others. Sujuru agreed, while Sestina was asked to escort her and relay that there would be no training that evening for the girls. Before leaving, Sestina whispered a request to Sujuru, asking him to be mindful of the girls and respect their rest. Sujuru agreed, though he doubted anything unusual would occur. Sujuru lay alone in a large bed, reflecting on the day. When he sensed someone approaching, he assumed it was Sakura. Calmly, he welcomed them to enter the room. Frey entered Sujuru's room, requesting a private talk. Nervous but sincere, she asked to explain her past. Sujuru listened quietly as she sat down to begin her confession. Frey explained how she started working for Bart, hoping to help her sick brother. Initially trusting him, she later realized Bart was manipulating her, keeping her brother sick on purpose. As Bart's demands escalated, Frey was forced into illegal work. Her occupation level rose through dangerous missions she never wanted. Eventually, he even pressured her to harm others for his gain. Frey revealed the one thing she refused to do: harm innocent lives. Though pressured, she held to that line. It was the last boundary she couldn't cross. Despite all other hardships, knowing the cost, Frey resisted. Bart retaliated, violating her trust and her body. Shaken but determined, she wanted Sujuru to understand what she endured, even if speaking it was painful. Sujuru offered her comfort, not demanding details. But Frey insisted she wanted him to know the truth. Her expression was steady, filled with pain, but also the courage to be honest. Sujuru listened as Frey explained everything Bart had done. She was manipulated into betrayal, forced to target Sakura and a powerful artifact, believing it would free her from her painful obligations. Despite her mistakes, Frey admired Sujuru and the others for never surrendering in battle. Witnessing their resolve inspired her deeply. She chose to believe in survival instead of despair. Bart was found dead the next day. A letter revealed he had abused other girls similarly. The truth and a real cure for Frey's brothers surfaced, exposing Bart's deception. Frey expressed deep gratitude to Sujuru and his companions for saving both her and her brother. Sujuru assured her that she was free now and had a chance to heal. Overwhelmed by emotion, Frey offered herself to Sujuru, unsure of her worth. She questioned if her body, marked by trauma, could still be seen as desirable in his eyes. Sujuru reflected on her words with quiet understanding. Elsewhere, Sistina had anticipated this moment and urged Sujuru, should it come, to respond with kindness and accept Frey's vulnerability with care and compassion. Frey stood vulnerable and uncertain, asking Sujuru if he truly wanted her. He responded with silent acceptance, gently drawing her close and affirming her place without judgment or hesitation. Sujuru kissed Frey with care. Their closeness signaled emotional healing as much as physical connection. Meanwhile, the others sensed what was happening, yet offered quiet support without interrupting the moment. Sakura and Hotaru, understanding Frey's feelings, chose not to interfere. Though Sakura also loved Sujuru, she accepted Frey's need. The others respected her grace, seeing strength in her calm acceptance. As morning arrived, Frey stirred and reacted shyly to Sujuru. He teased her gently, learning about her sensitive ears. Despite her embarrassment, she remained open and honest about herself. They spoke quietly in bed. Frey shared that her keen hearing was both a gift and burden. She admitted to breaking her race's rules, but felt this moment was worth it. Sujuru respected her sincerity, quietly impressed. Frey decided to return to her room, satisfied and emotionally lighter. He remained thoughtful, unaware of how much her feelings had deepened from the experience. As Frey left, she revealed with a smile that the medicine was an antidote. Sujuru was stunned. Her parting words and his clumsy fall reminded him he could never outwit them. Sujuru awoke in a peaceful mansion, greeted by Hotaru, Sistina, and Sakura. The three girls eagerly welcomed him, showing affection. Frey was missing, leaving early before anyone else stirred. As the girls crowded him, Sistina reminded them to behave since a guest was staying. Frey was going. She left to meet Tor and Ahri, promising to return in 3 days. Sujuru and the girls reunited with Rostilla, a skilled elf artisan. Sakura greeted her cheerfully. Rostilla arrived to deliver custom items she crafted, specially designed for the women in Sujuru's group. Rostilla revealed her work, custom bras tailored for each woman. She wanted them to test the fit and comfort. Though shy, the girls agreed. Sujuru stayed close, observing with cautious curiosity. The girls tried them on, surprised by the quality. Their movements became easier, and their confidence grew. Sujuru admired their beauty in a new light, seeing both strength and grace. Sujuru, overwhelmed by excitement, imagined the appeal of the bras being removed. The girls, close and affectionate, embraced him. Lost in fantasy, he was snapped back to reality by Rostilla. Regaining composure, Sujuru explained he used magic gems to make the bras water-resistant. His strange laughter startled the girls. Energized by the idea, he suddenly announced a trip to the beach. The group arrived at an empty beach. Sistina noted it was a normal spot for swimming. As Sujuru admired their swimsuits, the girls prepared joyfully, ready to relax and play. Sistina shyly stepped out in her new swimsuit, catching everyone's attention. Sujuru complimented her appearance. Sakura suggested her that water-resistant bras could double as swimwear, inspiring the group to embrace the idea. Sakura showcased a ruffled swimsuit created by transforming her usual form, revealing her adaptive outfit skill. Sujuru was surprised she had this talent all along, impressed by her creativity and charm. Hotaru playfully teased the idea of creating more outfits, including school uniforms. Sakura excitedly imagined different looks, fueling Sujuru's imagination. Sistina quietly watched as the lighthearted mood filled the beach. Hotaru appeared in a sleek swimsuit, stunning Sujuru with her graceful presence. Flustered, he couldn't hide his admiration. Her beauty left him speechless, and the atmosphere grew tense between them. To break the silence, Hotaru invited everyone to swim. Sujuru joined the group, eager but hesitant. Laughter and splashes followed. Despite not knowing how to swim, he tried to keep up. Encouraged by the others, Sujuru practiced in the shallows. Sakura struggled too but kept trying. Sujuru reassured her, reminding her that learning takes time, gently easing her worries with kind words. Hotaru listened as Sujuru encouraged her not to doubt herself. She accepted his words with quiet gratitude. Wanting to grow, she welcomed the rare chance to learn something from him directly. Suddenly, Hotaru dove underwater, gesturing for Sujuru to follow. Beneath the surface, they practiced holding position and moving gently, growing closer through the quiet shared moment beneath the waves. Sakura and Sistina noticed their absence. Sistina speculated they might be training underwater. Curious, Sakura excitedly joined, while Rostilla observed quietly. A new round of playful swimming was about to begin. While swimming peacefully, Sistina and Sakura were suddenly ambushed by a tentacled sea creature. Panic spread as the monster attacked swiftly, wrapping its limbs around them, pulling them into confusion and distress. Sujuru saw the struggle and tried to react. Tentacles moved aggressively, targeting the girls. Despite the chaos, he noticed the creature was oddly fixated on the women, not attacking him directly. Hotaru became the creature's next target. She realized it focused on sensitive areas, attacking with precision. Sujuru was left stunned, trying to understand the monster's strange and selective behavior. The monster tightened its grip on Sakura and Sistina, overwhelming them. Sakura protested, embarrassed. Despite struggling, she maintained a light-hearted tone, trying to stay composed while trapped in a helpless position. Sistina resisted as well, declaring her loyalty to Sujuru. The tentacles began pulling at their clothing. Amid the chaos, the girls held on to their dignity and shouted in defiance. Seeing the girls in distress, Sujuru surfaced to catch his breath before rushing back to help. Determined, he pushed forward through the water, shouting as he swam toward them. Hotaru pushed through the writhing tentacles, shouting her vow to save the others. As the monster overwhelmed them, she fought to keep her promise despite being entangled herself. The monster's grip tightened. The girls protested, their loyalty to Sujuru clear. Though trapped, they resisted emotionally, maintaining their dignity. The bond they shared with Sujuru gave them strength to endure. Hotaru called out for Sujuru, her voice desperate and full of trust. The others were still restrained. Their only hope now rested on Sujuru reaching them in time. Sujuru arrived just in time. Diving in with determination, sword in hand, he prepared to cut through the tentacles binding his companions. The girls, still restrained, called out to him in relief. Seeing them in pain fueled Sujuru's fury. With sharp resolve, he denounced the creature for violating those under his protection. He launched his attack, blades slashing through the water with precision. As the monster recoiled, the group regrouped. Sujuru rallied them with confidence. Now free and united, they stood ready to strike back together, determined to end the threat for good. Sujuru gave the signal to attack, shouting with resolve. Hotaru and Sakura stood behind him, weapons ready. The sea monster reared back, its tentacles thrashing as the final battle began. Sakura launched a fire spell to force the monster up. Flames surged as she cast it directly into the water, exposing the creature's body. The team moved to follow up. Explosions burst beneath the surface as landmines detonated. The monster writhed upward, fully exposed. Hotaru charged forward without hesitation, focusing her blade, preparing a precision technique to land the first strike. Hotaru unleashed a powerful draw slash, cleanly cutting through the enemy's limbs. With momentum, she leapt high into the air, readying a follow-up attack to finish what she started. Hotaru unleashed a series of precise slashes, striking the monster with speed and force. Onlookers were stunned by Hotaru's strength and beauty, overwhelmed by the display of power from the unexpected warriors. Tentacles flailed wildly as damage accumulated. Hotaru's coordinated attacks drove it back, leaving the waters erupting violently. The spectacle caught attention from nearby beachgoers. Sujuru warned them to stay back. Sakura, now in focus, drew equal admiration. Struggling with attention, she hesitated to use her magic. Embarrassed, she realized her flashy spells might draw even more eyes in the crowd. Frustrated by the crowd's reactions, Sujuru's resolve hardened. With a stern look, he prepared to act. He handed Sistina a cloth, determined to protect the girls' dignity from further stares. Declaring their swimsuits off limits, Sujuru charged forward with blade drawn. The onlookers panicked and retreated. He wasn't just defending his companion's safety, he was defending their privacy and honor in full force. As Sujuru cleared the beach, Sakura smiled proudly. With a bold magical strike, she reminded him of their devotion. They fought openly, but their hearts remained loyal to only him. Hotaru launched her zigzag slash, cutting through the monster's limbs with fierce precision. The attack tore through its defenses. She fought fiercely while her companions watched with admiration and growing concern. Returning to shore, Hotaru and the others comforted Sujiro. The girls embraced him, expressing affection and loyalty. For a brief moment, the group felt safe and united again. The peace was shattered as a tentacle lashed out, seizing Hotaru. The others gasped as she was dragged away. Sujiro realized the monster wasn't defeated yet, and it was taking her underwater. Realizing Hotaru was in danger and unable to swim, Sujiro acted fast. He called Sistina to help him. Together they prepared to rescue her before the creature pulled her deeper. Sakura pointed ahead as a violent splash erupted from the water. Hotaru had been dragged into the depths. The group now saw how truly massive the underwater threat had become. Hotaru realized the creature's core was hidden beneath the surface all along. As she signaled the discovery, Sujiro dove in without hesitation, determined to strike at its true body directly. Sujiro and Hotaru executed a perfectly timed cross-slash. Their blades struck from both sides, cutting deep into the monster's core. The creature writhed violently, defeated at last by their combined strength. Hotaru floated back up calmly. Sujiro rushed to her side, but was shocked to see her swimming with ease. Her earlier fear was gone. She had learned quickly under pressure. With the threat gone, laughter returned. Hotaru teased Sujiro. Sistina and Sakura joined them in the water, their spirits high. The group relaxed, finally able to enjoy the beach together. The group celebrated their victory with cheerful splashing and laughter. With the danger gone, joy returned. They relaxed together in the water, enjoying a rare moment of peace and lightheartedness. The townspeople, drawn by the battle, began praising the girls. Mistaking them for sea goddesses, they offered thanks. Sujiro felt uneasy, wanting to protect the girls from further public attention. Sistina suggested relocating to a quieter bay she had noticed earlier. The group agreed. Meanwhile, Sakura's odd swimming style caught Sujiru's eye, adding humor to the calm after the chaos. The group returned from the beach, tired but cheerful. Despite the chaos, they had fun. Sujiro reminded himself to care for Aoi, his sword, and appreciated the peaceful moment together. Sujiro praised Hotaru for her bravery and growth. She seemed hesitant, wanting to share something personal. As they walked ahead of the others, she quietly reached for his hand. Hotaru confessed she had known how to swim all along. She pretended to struggle just to stay close to Sujiro. Embarrassed but sincere, she looked away, blushing as he reacted. The girls teased Hotaru after hearing her honest confession. Surprised by her rare vulnerability, they smiled warmly. Embarrassed but proud, Hotaru blushed, overwhelmed by the light-hearted teasing and sudden attention. To show appreciation, the others offered Hotaru private time with Sujiro for the evening. She accepted, flustered. As night approached, peace settled in, and the group's bond deepened even more. Elsewhere, Frey beamed as she returned with her companions. There are Atri and Tor, but with one new face. Grateful for Sujiru's help, they looked forward to reuniting.